5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Still tracking what the weather folks tell us is going to be triple-digit heat index temperatures and high humidity. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Got a massive manhunt right now, just one state over in Arkansas.
He could have been here last night at the bar for all we know.
That's Michelle Cheek, runs the bar there in Morrilton, Arkansas, about 50 miles north of Little Rock. Investigators in Oklahoma say 50-year-old Stacy Lee Drake has killed several people and was last seen buying camping gear there in Arkansas.
As soon as we were able to identify Mr. Drake, we let Arkansas authorities know, and we've been working constantly with them all night, all morning, and we will continue to until he's found.
Yeah, they think he's somewhere around there. Right now in Nasjville, more Vanderbilt patients joining a class action lawsuit related to the release of transgender patients' records, which the hospital says was required by law when the Attorney General started investigating a billing issue. News 2 says a dozen more patients have added their names, claiming the hospital released pictures of body parts, gender identity, mental health information, and names of intimate partners. And 3 Vanderbilt University students expected in court today for charges related to forcing their way into a building to protest the war in Gaza. Several students and a reporter were arrested. That reporter has since been cleared of any wrongdoing. Turning to sports.
On a line to short and caught by Curley. Tennessee is headed to the finals of the College World Series.
Yeah, the call there on ESPN. The Vols going to take on Texas A&M. The third time in the past 3 seasons that 2 SEC teams will play for the national championship. And the matchup means an SEC team will be the champions for a 5th straight time. Entertainment news, Jason Nathanson.
Pat Sajak's final goodbye as host of Wheel of Fortune.
It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes, night after night, year after year.
It drew an audience of 11 million viewers, the highest for the show since April of 2020. The June 7th episode was also the most watched show that week on broadcaster cable, excluding sports. Sajak retired at age 77 after 41 seasons of hosting the syndicated game show. Ryan Seacrest takes over as host next season.
I'm told that he used to do weather here in Nashville. And music business news. Queen's entire catalog of music being sold to Sony for $1.2 billion. That's more than double what Sony paid for Bruce Springsteen's music catalog, more than Michael Jackson's, which was sold for $600 million. Market Numbers report. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Right now, Dow futures are up 9, S&P up 24, NASDAQ up 126. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've got some audio from Louis C.K. Now, you know who he is, right? He's like a comedian. And as I tweeted out this morning, you know, he's had some bad judgment as it relates to his man parts, and clearly it doesn't stop there. So he was on the
judgment.
Right. Well, do we all know what Louis C.K. did? He actually admitted to it.
Yeah.
Just doing some things in public that he shouldn't have been doing.
No, sir.
If you don't know what that is, just Google Louis C.K. and it's all there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, Google it. That's what you've got to do. Google it. Anyway, so he made some comments. He was on with Joe Rogan. This was a while ago. But I'm here to tell you that his comments did not age well. Did not age well at all. This is Louis C.K. on with Joe Rogan.
My feeling is they should open it, the border, and just let them pour in, let everybody pour in, and then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. What'll really happen? A bunch of people, like, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what Louis C.K. said on Joe Rogan's show. Again,
what'll really happen? A bunch of people, like, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
I mean, Louis C.K. And I would tell Louis C.K., you've got to meet the mother of Rachel Marin, who was killed by one of those illegal aliens that you want to let flow into our country. You know, the ones he says that won't start killing people.
It never leaves our mind that Rachel's gone because of all the things that we do in our life that she was a part of. So we're constantly reminded of Rachel, and it just makes you feel so sad because there's such a hole in our family.
I mean, see that? Isn't when you hear the mother of Rachel Marin, you hear the mother, you hear the pain. And you know it doesn't stop there. I mean, I did a whole segment yesterday on how every single day now, it seems like there are more and more of these cases of Americans falling victims to these illegal aliens that Louis C.K. a while ago on Joe Rogan said that, what are they going to do? Come in here and start killing people? I don't think so. Yeah, that didn't age well. Didn't age well at all. So, but I believe that this is part of, you know, with Louis C.K., I think that what he said back then, and I think that it still holds true, is that he is saying the quiet part out loud. So I want to play some more of this to put it in even more context and perspective. Again, this is the left saying that, you know what? Let them all in, because I believe that there is a certain contingent on the left that hates America.
It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America. It shouldn't be. It's a weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep upping their lifespan and their lifestyle and just keep trying to increase that for this group of people. And then and then this pressure of people trying to come in so they can enjoy it. There's something wrong with that. That's not a system that's working, and it forces people to do cruel things to other people. There's a lot of people that die so Americans can be safe.
Well, I mean, what the hell is this? So forget about the fact that we had the Revolutionary War so that we could forge our own path here in America and build our own country and tell the British to go pound sand. Forget about all of that. People have fought and died for this country to be free, to be great, and to be safe. People have died for our sovereignty. And now Americans are dying because we have a president who won't protect it. And so it's like Louis C.K. thinks that we just, you know, plop down a few tents and log cabins and decided to start a country. And everybody else, you know, they can all go to hell, right? I mean, that's what it seems like Louis C.K. believes is how our country was formed and founded. But the reality is that we fought for this land. We fought for this country, and we have defended our freedoms time and time again.
It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America.
I don't understand the logic. I don't understand a lot of liberal thinking, though. I'm actually proud to say that I don't understand a lot of the liberal thinking, but Louis C.K., I don't know how much of that is really, if you stopped and you asked liberals, if you listen to their liberal cocktail parties, do you think that they all feel the same way?
It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America.
I mean, I can see AOC saying this. I can see Ilhan Omar saying this. I can hear a lot of the squad saying this. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, I don't really know. But to me, it really is the left saying the quiet part out loud. That's the only thing that you can, the only way that you can explain, of course, our wide open borders. Because you know that is for political reasons. That is so that they can maintain power, so that they can take America down a few pegs and let everybody in. And so that the Democrats can have as much power as possible so that they can make their leftist progressive dream come true.
It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America.
All right, so now let's go back to people who matter. The mother of Rachel Marin, who has been very bravely making the rounds on TV and cable, calling out the Biden administration. You know, Alejandro Mayorkas was on CNN, and he was asked about the death of Rachel Marin. Listen to what he said.
Our hearts break for the children of the individual.
Wait, who?
The individual.
The individual.
The individual who.
That is what Alejandro Mayorkas and the Biden administration, that is how they identified Rachel Marin, a woman killed by an illegal alien that they allowed to come into our country. I mean, that is sickening.
Our hearts break for the children of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother.
Yeah, doesn't even know Rachel Marin's name. That is sickening. And so she was on Laura Ingraham last night. The mother was on with Laura Ingraham, and this is what she had to say.
My reaction is that it's a completely political statement because they're not even willing to acknowledge that she was a female, that she was a mother, a daughter. It totally depersonalizes her and makes her an object.
It does. And the fact that they clearly don't care, the Biden administration doesn't care. You know, when Mayorkas said what he said, and I just played you the audio, I don't have to play it again, but basically, you know, when the left, they lose their ever-loving mind when, you know, Republicans and people will say after and I'm going to air quote this, mass shooting, and folks tend to say, well, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. Well, that's what Alejandro Mayorkas just said. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. You caused this. And it's not even close to the same thing as a mass shooting. I don't need to get into the difference with you because I know that you understand the difference between the two. Wide open borders, and that is a self-inflicted wound that the Biden administration is doing for political power. And mass shootings are, of course, when crazy people grab an inanimate object and do horrendous things. Two completely different things. Bottom line is, though, is that statement by Alejandro Mayorkas, it really does prove that the Biden administration does not care. Does not care about the woman Rachel Marin, who was murdered by an illegal alien, or the 13-year-old that was raped in New York. I told you about that story the other day, or the countless other stories that we tell you day in and day out. It is 5:15 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Thank you, Jack. 5:15. By the way, it's Thursday, June 20th. Forgot to do the date check. Partly cloudy today. High of 93, and right now 69 at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is a very busy news day today, and that audio from Louis C.K., I don't know what it was because it is older audio. And I think I may have talked about that before when the original conversation happened. But I was a little surprised by Joe Rogan because he didn't really challenge Louis C.K. on this. And, part of what he said was, well, people shouldn't be living behind gates and all of these other things that just, it did make a whole heck of a lot of sense, especially when you look at the fact that he is liberal, progressive, whatever it is that you want to talk about, however it is that you want to label that. Well, let's face it, Democrats do live behind gates, really big gates. I've seen them. I used to live in Los Angeles. And so that is just part of the news cycle today. Other things that are going on. Michael Patrick Leahy, in the 6 o'clock hour, I want you to stick around. Michael Patrick Leahy was on the Mark Levin show last night, and he has the very latest on what is going on with his investigation into the Covenant School shooting. And it is, I'm going to tell you, the information that he has now released is just as we had feared regarding Vanderbilt. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more in the 6 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Cringe Jean-Pierre. Of course, she was on MSNBC yesterday and the day before saying that it is so insulting to the American people for the Republicans to say that Joe Biden is wandering. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm going to be honest with you today. I feel like the story has run its course. You're going to have the left continuing to say that all of these videos of Joe Biden, they're nothing but cheap fakes, deep fakes.
I think you're right. I think there is so much misinformation, disinformation, as we've been talking about. You talked about the video of the president wandering, and it's not true, right? The president wasn't wandering. He was talking to a parachuter that was right in front of him.
You know what's interesting when she says that, though? The parachuter wasn't right in front of him.
No.
And the parachuter wasn't even looking at Joe Biden.
No.
Joe Biden, he like gave a meek thumbs up. And then he just sort of stood there while the parachuter wasn't even noticing that this creepy old guy was looking at him.
Yeah.
Just staring at him.
Just staring at him.
Why don't you just fold it?
So I don't know. She's giving misinformation while talking about misinformation and accusing the Republicans of putting out misinformation.
Yeah, it's misinformation. It's disinformation.
Well, you know what I like to call her is misinformation.
And what you saw is the Republican Party really manipulating what was being said and what was being seen by the American people. It's also very insulting to the folks the viewers who are watching it.
That's rich.
Very insulting.
It's very insulting. Oh, my goodness gracious.
They think the American people are that stupid.
They've been peeing on our leg and telling us it's raining for 3.5 years.
And so we believe we have to call that out. We've been calling it cheap fakes. That is something that came directly from the media outlets and calling it that, the fact checkers and calling it that.
Oh, we have fact-checked the fact checkers many times.
The fact checkers.
I'd like to meet these fact checkers.
Well, it's the Washington Post and the New York Times.
Yeah.
So, and if we did a drinking game for every time Cringe Jean-Pierre said, we've got to call that out.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be drunk at 5:30.
And so we're certainly going to be really clear about that as well.
All right, so she's being very clear.
Either that or more drunk than we already are.
You know, the show might be better, at least with me, if I just had a couple of drinks right before. By the way, you know what I experienced yesterday that I rarely do?
What's up, Brother Dan?
I day drinking.
Did some day drinking, did you?
Day drinking.
Well, you know what? It was Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And so in my new role of not having a role as the program director, nobody calls me. And on Juneteenth, even fewer people called me.
Yeah.
So Amy said, I'm out by the pool. And Amy comes out with a drink and she says, come on. Just take a drink.
Oh, come on.
And it wasn't like, it was like a big drink.
Come on, Daddy. Let's get frisky.
So there was part of me that thought that maybe it was going to be, afternoon delight kind of thing. Yeah. Sadly, no. But
was it in one of those big old Stanley cups?
It was in, what's just funny, Ken? It was actually in the biggest cup that we have.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. So I don't know why she was trying to get me drunk, but I of course, I have a feeling I know why it didn't end up in afternoon delight, because you know what I said to her?
What'd you say?
Oh, behave. In a real creepy way. And she said, yeah, you know what? As she said later, that's not exactly going to get me in the mood, just so you know.
Behave.
Behave, baby.
Yeah. See, I went creepy, and I don't know why I went creepy, but I did.
Oh, behave. And she did.
She did. She actually did. She's like, yep.
I'll behave all right.
She's like, I'm going to go back to work. That's exactly what we're going to do. Anyway.
Yes, sir.
But that's fine. Not a problem. You know, she actually said to me, I'll tell you guys off the air, like, 'cause I can't say it on the air.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But, it's really crude what she said, but basically, because, you know, my lady can be crude sometimes. And so and the things that she says, and she says, oh, God. I can't, what I want to say, I can't say. She basically said, yeah, you ruin your good time more often than you know.
Wow.
And I said, how? And you know what she said? She said, by being you. How do you make sure that you don't ruin your good time when how you're ruining your good time is by being yourself? How does one accomplish it? Inquiring minds, well, maybe it's just me. My inquiring mind wants to know. Anyway, moving right along. 5:23 on WTN. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Got a multi-state manhunt for an accused killer. Might be hiding in the woods just one state over. Details at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thanks, Ken. 5:23. Why should you go to NetSuite's Business Grows Here event? Well, we've been talking about this for a while now. Number one, it is a great place to make contacts. There's going to be all kinds of people there that are leaders in not only our city of Nashville, but also in the world of business. Number two, they do have incredible speakers. I've been focused on a couple, but there's a lot. You've got Burke Nihill, who is the CEO of the Titans, Jamie Siminoff, founder of Ring Video Doorbell, among many others. Now, they also have some great information that is going to be imparted as well. How to raise capital, doing business in Tennessee, strategies and lessons learned along the way. And they'll be talking about the growth of Nashville on the East Bank. So if you're a business person and you want to make contacts and you want to learn a whole lot from the best there is in business in this town, then what you want to do is go to this website, and it's netsuite.com/Nashville, netsuite.com/Nashville, and sign up. Get your tickets. The Conrad Hotel, it's going to be on Tuesday, June 25th. So that's coming up in 4 or 5 days. Tuesday, June 25th at the Conrad Hotel. It is NetSuite's Business Grows Here seminar event. It is free. Lives can be changed. Businesses can be created. So sign up today. That website one more time, netsuite.com/Nashville.
5:30 on the dot this Thursday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. The weatherman and woman say we're going to see triple-digit heat index temperatures starting tomorrow. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now, just a state over. A manhunt underway for a double homicide suspect in Arkansas.
He is considered armed and dangerous at this time, and we need to make sure that nobody else is hurt.
Now, that's Hunter McGee of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, who says 50-year-old Stacy Lee Drake killed a man and woman at a business near the Arkansas border and now may be hiding out in the woods about 50 miles north of Little Rock. Right now in Tennessee, scary moments for a Clarksville man who tells Channel 4 about the moments he found what looked like a bomb.
The first thing that went through my mind was a homemade pipe bomb. I was like, all right, I got to stay calm. I got to stay cool. I got to make sure that I'm easy and careful with this thing. That way, nothing happens.
Alan Dennis says it was a black bag with what looked like a fuse in it. Police were called, the bomb squad was deployed, and the device was, as authorities put it, rendered safe. They're still investigating. And a Nashville man tells Channel 4 he is too embarrassed to give his name after losing $9,000 to a woman he says he met on Facebook who convinced him to invest in her cryptocurrency website.
I went out there and tried to withdraw money out of that account. It won't let me. It failed twice. That's when I knew it's like, okay, I've been had. Of course, I should have recognized all the red flags from everything.
Says he should have known better because he could never confirm the woman's identity and she never wanted to talk in person. The FBI says the scam is called pig butchering and resulted in almost $4 billion in losses to victims last year alone. And right now in Louisiana, State Rep Royce Duplessis says court challenges are coming over a bill the governor signed yesterday mandating the 10 Commandments be displayed in every classroom.
We learned the 10 Commandments. We went to Sunday school. And as I said on the Senate floor, if you want your kids to learn the 10 Commandments, you can take them to church.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 532 on Super Talk, 99.7. The Glock Store. This is where I buy all my guns and, yes, all my performance parts as well. Now, if you haven't visited the Glock Store, you really need to, especially if you have any interest in Glocks, because this is the store that specializes in the Glock brand. There's a reason why they call it the Glock Store. Now, if it has anything to do with Glock, anything, you can bet it is on the shelf at the Glock Store. And if it's not there, it is likely in the warehouse about to be brought out. They do get all the latest performance parts and accessories. Now, when it comes to performance parts for my own Glock, I always go to the source, the Glock Store, where my performance parts are installed for free while I wait. I've already done that numerous times. And of course, they have those incredible, incomparable Shoot 270 indoor shooting ranges. No lane range nonsense at the Glock Store. Just you and the instructor in a private shooting room. That's the Glock Store on Air Lane Drive, just off Elm Hill Pike and Briley Parkway. Find them online. It is glockstore.com. That's glockstore.com. Just minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. 9:37. Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into the Gang of Three Amigos. I'm Dan. Johnny's there. Good morning, Johnny.
Hey, good morning, Dan.
Weaves, good morning to you.
Good morning, boys. Yes.
I got a nice note from Murphy Show.
Oh, did you?
What did Murphy say?
He did the drive, and so he was the last one in the studio. And so it says, morning sunshine. First thing. Now, clearly, though, the relationship between it's all sticky. This note is sticky.
Wow.
Actually,
you have some
I don't know what, I just picked
Mr.
it up,
Murphy.
and there's some, I don't know, maybe that's my honey that I had. Moving right along.
I was getting ready to say that jar of honey is quite messy.
So it is. But I was going to say, apparently the relationship between Matt and I, now that I'm no longer the boss, no longer, I'm not going to get the niceties of like the little treats that he left, like an RC Cola. And what was that thing he left
Moon
me?
pie.
And the moon pie that tasted like dust. Now I just get nice notes. But it's okay. Thank you, Matt Murphy.
Good morning, sunshine.
Murphy Show. I listened to Murphy Show yesterday on the drive.
I try to be sunshine-like in the morning. I need to try a little bit harder,
We all could.
Hey, speaking of cheap fakes, deep fakes.
Cheap fakes, deep fakes.
So
from disinformation.
There's a new one out there, and
where do we go see it?
It's everywhere. Go to any Republican conservative Twitter.
Okay.
It's Joe Biden getting off of Air Force One or whatever, and he's
enough said.
And he's trying to get into the presidential SUV, and so he gets to the door that is open, and he's trying to lift his leg, and it's like his leg is suspended in air as he's trying to swing it into the SUV. And it's like, clearly, at least to me, it's like he just can't quite do it.
He's got old man leg.
And so then they're trying to, sort of usher him in and get his leg to go in the right direction.
Sounds like he's raising his leg to do something else.
And finally, they were able to get him into the presidential SUV. Now,
goodness, man,
when I looked at it, I thought, what's going on here? Now, I believe what happened.
What's going on?
I believe what happened is that he was waiting for Jill or someone to get situated into the SUV, and he wasn't necessarily having a hard time getting his leg into the SUV. I think that's perhaps what happened.
Yeah, it looks like he's waiting for something to be moved. Maybe there were some purchases that had been left on the seat from a previous stop.
Maybe, but I mean I think that's perhaps what happened.
Yeah.
I always try to be fair, and I don't want to be, the guy that throws out, cheap fakes, deep fakes. Well,
cheap fakes, deep fakes.
Like I call it as I see it, and so whatever.
Yeah, he gets there, and then his left leg is just a little slow getting up in there.
Yep.
And looks like a fella stands behind him to make sure he doesn't fall backward.
That's exactly right.
Which is a good thing because he could hit his head.
Yeah.
Maybe knock some sense into him.
Might.
Anyway, so there you go.
Joe Biden.
We don't. It's really sad what they're doing to him. I mean, it's to let him just keep doing this. Is this okay? So is he getting into the SUV here to be whisked away to his campaign, or rather his debate hideout?
Yeah, up there in Camp David.
So he's getting ready to disappear for about a week.
Yep.
Will anybody notice? This debate.
Yeah. Will anybody notice?
I'm going to debate.
So the president is going to be holed up somewhere practicing debate, or is he going to be trying a new concoction of drugs?
You know what? That's a great point, Ken.
Probably both.
Because, I mean, who needs a let's just be honest. Who needs a week to prepare for a debate? And maybe that is is the length of time it takes to prepare for a presidential debate. But that seems like a long time. If you know the issues and you know the policies, well, then defend them. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But see, with Biden, it is, because more often than not, he doesn't really understand, what is going on around him. And I don't believe, and every time we go down this road, I got people that say, Mandis, don't you know he's not the one running the country? I know he's not the one running the country.
Yeah. What if he's already what if the questions have already been formulated, agreed upon, and he's got a list of them?
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. I mean, they did that for Hillary.
Yeah.
Right. So
Donna Brazile apparently.
Donna Brazile
gave her a little
that for Hillary.
Little preview there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You guys ever eat raw bull testicles?
Not knowingly.
Have you by accident?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not sure if Chuck Schumer is trying to cook raw bull testicles on the barbecue, but he just doesn't know how to do it.
Those weren't hamburgers. Those were bull balls.
Those were bull balls.
Wow.
Man.
I'm just kidding.
What do you think of that hamburger there, Chuck? Well, that's some of the most moist hamburger meat I've ever seen.
So, you guys remember the guy that was eating raw chicken? He was eating raw chicken for a long time.
Oh, and he never got sick.
And he never got sick.
Yes.
Same dude is now eating raw bull testicles.
All right, let's look this up.
Or as Ken put it,
bull balls.
Yep.
Eating big old plates of bull balls.
Haters say I'm insane. You think the bulls see this guy coming and they just run the other way?
Probably.
I bet.
They say it takes balls to do this extreme eating experiment. This is from the New York Post.
You can't ride them, folks.
A Florida man is shocking social media users by eating raw bull testicles in a bid to boost his testosterone.
Oh.
Isn't there like just a shot for that?
Keep him away from the farm.
Yeah.
The guy, known only as John, first came to prominence earlier this year after announcing a plan to eat raw chicken every day for 100 days. After saying he successfully pulled off that queasy quest without getting salmonella, the surprise social media star announced a new culinary challenge in a viral video posted a few days ago. So there you go.
So he's eating
goodness.
Eating bull balls now.
We always, he says, we're always told that. I should have read this ahead of time.
Yeah.
He says, this is a quote and it's in the news.
All right.
We're always told that organ meats, especially testicles, will take you to the next level, John wrote in the caption of the clip.
Goodness.
Can I just say that if you need to eat those to take you to the next level, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go to the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
Yes.
That's all you need to do.
Yes.
Come on out to the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. He is doing it.
He is. Yeah.
Oh, man.
People are like getting sick and stuff watching it. But then why do you watch it?
Well, yeah, why do you watch it?
You can't look away. It's like,
oh my goodness.
It's like a traffic accident on I-24 that I see every day.
There's one photo of him, and he's got spaghetti and bull balls.
Oh, gross.
Let's talk about this fella Channel 4 interviewed who met a woman on Facebook and gave her $9,000.
What was that? Can you what is that story?
Yeah, it's a scam that the FBI calls pig butchering, where apparently this guy, he was so embarrassed, he didn't want to give Channel 4 his name, but he let them interview him. Says he met a woman on Facebook. They started chatting back and forth, video chatting, for a couple of weeks. And all of a sudden she asks, for some money for her cryptocurrency website. He hands over $50, gets a little bit of a return. She just kind of, eggs him on. Finally, he hands over $9,000.
Oh!
Goes to withdraw some money, and it's not working.
Son of a gun.
All of a sudden, the account, it's just not working. The money just won't come out. And then
what is wrong with men?
He says that he should have known better because the woman would never, he could never positively identify her, and she never wanted to meet up in person.
7732 says, no lie, my friend lost $330,000 this week.
Goodness.
Man.
How in the world?
Well, see, you give a little bit, and then you start getting these returns.
You shouldn't give it. What return?
But then all of a sudden, he gave $50,
okay,
and then he actually got. Then he looked into his quote unquote account, and there was some money in it, so he drew it out.
So
eventually he gives $9,000, and she skedaddles with it.
You guys, we've talked about this before, where you see people slide into your DMs and they're hot-looking women or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It is my natural instinct to just ignore.
Yeah.
Ignore,
Right.
delete, whatever. Because I know that it's not real.
Right.
Right.
And so it's stunning that more men, and by the way, women do this too. Remember that story a while ago from the Nasjville guy?
Oh, yeah.
Who was accused of scamming all of these women out of money as well. So it's, this is it doesn't matter, man, woman. People do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it's women or men. And they're just dumb.
Yes.
I don't know how, number one, I understand older people and how this does happen to older people.
Mm-hmm.
My stepmom, actually, when she, in beginning throes of Alzheimer's, this happened to her. Now, luckily, we caught it. But, I mean, people are just horrible. But,
Yes, they are.
But, I mean, actually smart people. They just get trapped by these folks who do this kind of thing, and I don't understand how more people don't realize that they're being taken advantage of.
Well, vulnerable people, lonely people.
Yes.
This fella, he may be lonely, and this woman seems friendly and makes him feel good.
2528, desperate men online talking to probably men in another country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, exactly what it is.
You ever watch that MTV show Catfish? About people getting catfished.
Yeah. Yes.
They think they're, men and both male and females think they're talking to who looks like a very beautiful person on the other side, but turns out it's not. This fella named Neve, he ends up finding the catfish, and he puts the catfish and their victims together. It's very interesting.
Do you know what I would do? I would, and I kind of sort of did this when I was dating way back when, where it was like if you meet somebody on a dating app or whatever, and all you see is photos. So my thing would always be, at the very least, let's FaceTime so that we can actually confirm
right
who you are. You can see me, I can see you, and you don't think I'm a toad, and I don't, whatever.
Right.
And or just meet right away. But the elongated, hey, let's talk, let's text. I don't. Who's got time for that?
Yeah,
I ain't got time for that.
I ain't got time for that.
No. So anyway, that's very, very sad. And you see that all the time.
Yeah, I keep getting a DM. I get a DM from that has the picture of the same woman over and over and over again. But it's supposedly from a different person. And I'm sure that if I was to ever click on that, my phone would no longer be mine.
My Instagram has been blowing up with hot women in bikinis in my DM. And it's like, how dumb do you think I am?
Don't click on it, dude.
I wouldn't. I don't even, to be perfectly candid, rarely do I go into my DMs on Instagram anymore because it's just a lot of that, you know? But people get taken advantage of all the time. And I just, again, there has been more than enough awareness about this now. And people are saying, you know what the problem is? The problem is that people are lonely, and the super text line is blowing up with that. Loneliness, you got two things. Loneliness and greed.
Yeah.
People are lonely, and some people are greedy. And so
they will take advantage of you.
They will, and it is really sad. So.
Yeah, and a lot of these places are overseas or in countries where we have no jurisdiction, and that your money's gone.
0008 says, I'm so good I once catfished myself. That's actually pretty good.
That is pretty good. I catfished myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good. Oh, by the way, Tennessee Vols going for the College World Series championship, the national championship against the Texas A&M Aggies.
All right.
It's an all-SEC affair again.
All right.
In college baseball.
When does all that happen?
The best of 3 series starts on Saturday.
Okay, very good. Hey, I got a really thought-provoking segment coming up in the 6th, and I really need to crank on my brain. Okay, I thought that was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Use that raspberry. Still got that raspberry sound?
You want me to break out the raspberry sound just for old time's sake?
Yes.
Let's see here. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Especially that last one.
Need to put that after every comment from Corinne Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, I think the official sound effect for cringe should be that. And then if she keeps talking, and then finally. You know what I need to do? When she just starts, oh my God, that's what we got to do. So when she starts bloviating and she just says the same, I'll just play that underneath.
Yeah, just play it underneath.
Remember, Johnny, we used to play tap dancing?
Yes.
I'll just play that from now on.
Yes.
That'd be perfect.
Yep. Cringe, Jean-Pierre. All right, I gotta go. 5:54 in Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Well, it's summertime. DT McCall's has everything you need for the hot weather. Now, whether it's lawn equipment, whether it's outdoor equipment, maybe it's outdoor furniture, indoor furniture, DT McCall's has everything you need at a great price and really some outstanding selection as well. Lawn mowers, patio furniture. Stop on by one of DT McCall's 5 locations. You can also, of course, always find them online as well. How about kitchen appliances, washer, dryer sets, or any type of home furnishings? DT McCall's has great value and customer service as well. You know what I like to say about DT McCall's? They've been around for over 100 years. You don't last that long without doing something right. And with DT McCall's, they do a lot right. So check them out. Again, online, it's dtmccalls.com. They got 5 locations across Middle Tennessee. No doubt one near you. Carthage, Franklin, Cookeville, Lafayette, Lebanon. Again, that website, always online, dtmccalls.com. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in news?
Well, we're going to update that massive manhunt over in Arkansas. A man accused of killing a couple of people, maybe hiding out in the woods. More Vanderbilt patients have joined a class action lawsuit related to transgender records. 3 Vanderbilt University students who protest the war in Gaza expected in court today. And wait till you hear how much the entire Queen music catalog has sold for at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number 1, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number 2, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're still tracking what is expected to be triple-digit heat index temperatures and high humidity. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Got a massive manhunt right now, one state over in Arkansas.
He could have been here last night at the bar for all we know.
That's Michelle Cheek, a bar owner there in Marlton, Arkansas, just outside of Little Rock. Investigators say 50-year-old Stacy Lee Drake has killed several people in Oklahoma. He was last seen buying camping gear in Arkansas.
As soon as we were able to identify Mr. Drake, we let Arkansas authorities know, and we've been working constantly with them all night, all morning, and we will continue to until he's found.
Right now in Nasjville, more Vanderbilt patients have joined a class action lawsuit related to the release of transgender patients' records, which Vanderbilt University Medical Center says was required by law when the Attorney General started investigating a billing issue. News 2 says a dozen more patients have added their names, claiming the hospital released pictures of body parts, gender identity, mental health information, and names of intimate partners. 3 Vanderbilt University students are expected in court today for charges related to forcing their way into a building during a protest of the war in Gaza. Several students and a reporter were arrested. That reporter has since been cleared of any wrongdoing. And turning to sports.
On a line to short and caught by Curley. Tennessee is headed to the finals of the College World Series.
That's the call on ESPN. The Vols taking down Florida State. They're going to take on Texas A&M. The third time in the past 3 seasons, 2 SEC teams will play for the national championship. And the matchup means an SEC team will be the champions for a 5th straight time in the College World Series. Entertainment news, Jason Nathanson.
Pat Sajak's final goodbye as host of Wheel of Fortune.
It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes night after night, year after year.
It drew an audience of 11 million viewers, the highest for the show since April of 2020. The June 7th episode was also the most watched show that week on broadcast or cable, excluding sports. Sajak retired at age 77 after 41 seasons of hosting the syndicated game show. Ryan Seacrest takes over as host next season.
All right, Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Here's Jim Ryan.
It's back to work for floor traders this morning after the Juneteenth holiday break. The Nasdaq and the S&P closed at record highs Tuesday. Futures have been pointing to a higher opening, while Asian and European markets have been down overnight. Also slipping, mortgage rates. For the first time since March, the average rate for a 30-year fix dropped to just below 7%, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. That has helped to convince more buyers to jump in. Elon Musk has been working this week to soften his expletive-laden assault on the advertisers who abandoned his social media platform. The billionaire owner of X says his comments were meant as a general statement about free speech and not an assault on any one company. And Australia's answer to Chipotle is Guzman and Gomez. The fast casual Mexican food chain has served up Australia's strongest initial public offering in 3 years, with shares soaring by more than 1/3 on its first trading day.
All right, Dow futures up 65, S&P up 26, NASDAQ futures up 134. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:08, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into your Thursday, June 20th. Hope you're doing well, along with Johnny B, Ken Weaver. I'm Dan. Super Text line is open, by the way, 615-737-9986. This is a crazy moment that has gone viral, but there's a lot more to talk about than just this 22-second clip.
What's the craziest experience you've had on spring break?
We were in Miami last spring break and a huge, 8 pounds of cocaine flew in and we stuffed it in our bikinis.
And took it.
And sold it. We're almost millionaires now.
So it was last year in Miami from Cuba. Yeah, it came in seaweed and it floated onto the beach.
That doesn't sound real.
You can look it up. Last year, 2023, Cuba, all the cocaine that floated into Miami.
Is this supposed to be a secret? It's not anymore.
It's fine now because it's a year later. But at the time, no one was supposed to be on the beaches. But we'd go at night and shove it in our bikinis.
So, number one, the statute of limitations for selling drugs is actually 5 years, apparently. But this is the story. This is crazy. And so this is a story from 2023, but it actually has a lot of impact on what is going on right now. So in January 23, nearly 150 pounds of packaged cocaine washed up on Big Pine Key, Florida. Now, there have been all kinds of stories out there as of late, last several years, about drugs and cocaine washing up on beaches. Just last week, 25 kilos of cocaine was found in Key West, Florida. And in Alabama, another 25 kilos was just found on a beach there. Now, they say that what's going on, and this has been going on forever, that drug traffickers transport cocaine through the waters in the Gulf Coast and the Caribbean Sea. So this isn't all that unusual, except now that it's washing up on beaches. But we're always talking about the drugs that are coming over our southern border as well. Fascinating story, once again, of course, of China and Mexico working together to get drugs into America. And as Donald Trump has often said, that the folks that are really benefiting from our open border, besides, of course, the Democrats for political reasons, is the drug cartels. U.S. announces major bust as efforts to crack down on Chinese money laundering working with drug cartels increases. So you've got all of these Chinese money launderers, and they're working directly with the drug cartels in Mexico. And they're working to get these drugs into America. U.S. prosecutors on Tuesday touted a major breakthrough in a crackdown against Chinese money laundering networks they say are working with these drug cartels. Now they're announcing charges against, listen to this, 24 people for allegedly taking part in a scheme to launder more than $50 million in drugs. $50 million in drugs in this big scheme. They're laundering this money. China and Mexico working together. They say that this is a massive bust. At the heart of all of this, shocker, is our wide open border.
Prosecutors claim the cartel has been using Chinese money laundering to hide more than $50 million, alleging they converted proceeds from the sale of illegal drugs in the U.S. into Chinese currency. The cartel allegedly then used the Chinese currency to import goods from China back to Mexico. Among those goods, precursor chemicals to make more drugs, including fentanyl and meth.
Now listen, it's no surprise here. It's no surprise on Nashville's Morning News or, any other show here on WTN, because we've been talking about this forever. They say it's one of the biggest busts yet as federal agencies step up efforts to target the highest levels of Chinese money laundering rings that experts and officials tell CNN are the go-to partners for Mexico's most dangerous drug cartels that traffic fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine into America. Now, you may ask, how bad is it? Well, it is so bad that even Ecuador is springing into action.
And wealthy Chinese nationals in this country are given access to virtually limitless supplies of cash.
These charges come as Chinese migrants face more scrutiny. Ecuador has now suspended visa-free travel for Chinese citizens, blaming a worrying increase in migratory flows from China. Officials say the South American country has become a key transit point for thousands of Chinese migrants headed to the U.S. southern border.
So you mean to tell me that even Ecuador gets it, but not Joe Biden? Well, it's because Joe Biden does get it. The Democrats do get it, but they don't care. They would rather help the Chinese money launderers and the Mexican drug cartels for political reasons, leaving our border open. That's what they want to do. Now, you remember the whole thing a while ago. We had those well-dressed Chinese guys show up at the border, fancy suitcases and all. And the whole thing was just crazy. Probably had something to do with drug smuggling. There has been listen to these numbers. There has been a 6,000% increase in the number of Chinese nationals coming across our border and coming in. And what do we always report? That the big winner in our open borders policy is, of course, the drug cartels, and now the Chinese money launderers as well. We've been saying this forever. Greg Steube is a congressman out of Florida.
China's the number one national security threat to the United States. It would not be surprising that your enemies are going to look to ways to thwart your defenses. Why not send 30,000 people, military-age males, operatives into the United States? Because they all know, the entire world knows that our border is wide open. You add that onto the 20,000 that have come in since Joe Biden's been president. It's over 50,000 Chinese Communist Party individuals that are in our country that I'm sure are communicating with one another. That's on top of the 30-something thousand Russians, people from Afghanistan, you name it, all over across the world. Our enemies realize that our southern border is wide open and they're going to take every advantage and exploit it.
All right. I'm telling you what, we are being exploited. Joe Biden is allowing all of this to happen, and that is why the election on November 5th is so incredibly important. Now, coming up, before the end of this hour, we're going to talk about a number of different things, including UFOs being brought up in the presidential debate in a week. I wonder how Joe Biden's going to prepare for that. So you've got that story and also some polling news that you may not want to hear, but I think that you need to hear it. It is all coming up on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. Today, partly cloudy, a high of 93. Going to feel a lot hotter than that right now. 69 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You guys remember this?
Do you believe that the recent spike in UFO encounters...
I get the UFO question?
Yeah, you do.
Come on, man.
Okay.
That is Martha McCallum and Chris Christie, and the question was about UFOs. And should the American people know about what's really out there? Should they know the truth that is apparently out there? Here's what is going on. We have these groups that are now trying to put pressure on the folks that decide such things, and that there does need to be a question about whether or not these presidential candidates need to be asked that question about UFOs. This is from CNN. The next president of the United States should be asked if he will release UFO-related documents, a new study shows. A once taboo subject that essentially forced whistleblowers like Bob Lazar into exile is the topic of a social media campaign applying heat to debate moderators to question each 2024 candidate about his willingness to decisively release the files. I mean, that's the big question, right? Do you release the files? Do you declassify those files? The American people want to know. The next president of the United States will make critical decisions about UAP disclosure. UAP is the new UFO. disclosure and government transparency. This group is called the New Paradigm Institute, and their chief of counsel, Daniel Sheehan, says in a June 12th statement that, yes, the next president should be asked this question. He says it is time for all presidential candidates, Joe Biden, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Donald Trump, to commit to UFOs, UAP disclosure, and transparency. Regardless of political affiliation, the time has come to inject UAP into the political discourse of our elections. Now, you know who's really all for this? Tim Burchett. Of course, you remember Tim Burchett. You know Tim Burchett from Tennessee. And he was quoted Fox News Digital by saying this. He says that the information is so compartmentalized that it'll never get released. The information will never get released and we'll never get to the bottom of it. It'll take a commander-in-chief who says enough is enough and declassify everything. Now, you remember this audio from this interview that Donald Trump gave to Logan Paul. Remember this?
There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
So it's such a question I do get a lot, and it's such an interesting question. I've met with pilots. Sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. And I look at these guys, and they really mean it.
Yeah.
Am I a believer? No, I can't say I am. But I have met with people that are serious people that say there's some really strange things that they see flying around out there.
Yeah, so that's going to be the big question. I don't think that the moderators for CNN, I don't think that they will ask that question. But I think that of a lot of the questions that are out there, I think this might not necessarily be as impactful to Americans as the economy, open border, illegal immigration, crime, inflation. But I think that this is something that the people most definitely are curious about. I don't see it happening, though. I mean, Trump had 4 years. He could have declassified these things, but he didn't. Joe Biden's been in office for 3.5 years, and you know, he's been all about illegal aliens, but he has not been about letting us know if there are actually aliens out there. So we'll have to see. I don't see this happening anytime soon. Here's what I want to know from you. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You think this ought to be a question in the debate coming up? You think this is something that Joe Biden and Donald Trump need to prepare for? I think it'd be really interesting myself, but there's a lot of other things that need to be discussed. I would like to know how Joe Biden would prepare for this. Okay, I'm sorry, squirrel moment. I'm looking up at the television. Have you seen this video? You guys know what Stonehenge is, right?
Yeah.
So apparently some of these protesters decided to spray Stonehenge as they're protesting. I guess, I'm assuming it's the climate stuff that they're protesting. So they go all the way out to Stonehenge in the middle of nowhere and they start spraying it with some sort of spray paint.
Yeah.
It's like Jerry Seinfeld said yesterday in Salisbury, England. It's like what Jerry Seinfeld said.
Yeah.
Way to go, genius. You're really bringing people over to your side. You're really influencing people by doing this. It is so absolutely insane. Protesters spraying Stonehenge with paint.
It'd be a shame that if one of those rocks fell over on them.
Boy, wouldn't that be a shame? It actually wouldn't. I think that'd be funny. Is that wrong to say? You spray Stonehenge with paint, the rock gets the last laugh, and nobody cares because you're a moron.
What morons?
622 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because if you don't know the answer to that question, and then your roof does get destroyed by a storm, then you could be out thousands of dollars. You've got to listen to me. because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for older roofs. Now, this means that the insurance company will depreciate how much they pay for your roof claim, and that could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they pay for it to be replaced, period. It is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. So call them, 615-329-8121. Get your royal review, tkinginsurance.com. Be sure and tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 615-329-8121, tkinginsurance.com. It is 6:23. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Got a multi-state manhunt for an accused killer who might be hiding in the woods just one state over from us. Scary moments in Clarksville when a man thought he found a bomb, and a man wants to stay anonymous after getting tricked into giving a woman $9,000 at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com. 628, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. To the Super Text line we go. This comes from North Carolina. Here's what he says. Johnny, to get some audio, please. This is from North Carolina.
How in the hell is Joe Biden leading Donald Trump in the polls? Are the American people that sick? They need to wake the hell up.
There you go. 629. I'm going to tell you what he's talking about.
You got to say that.
Coming up next.
Go wake him up. With that North Carolina accent.
Wake up, people. Come on, man. The polls are all over the place this morning. This is why I don't like to spend a ton of time on them. But I'm going to tell you what he's so mad about and a whole lot more straight ahead.
All right.
On Nashville's Morning News. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They are your Rude Pro partner. One of my favorite advertisers on WTN because they have got me through many HVAC dilemmas. Now, I have been a Beehive member for years now, and those benefits are always changing to meet your needs. Now, again, I've been a Beehive member for like 10 years. So I know firsthand how they're always changing. They're always improving. And so you want to check them out online. It's busybeehvac.com. That's busybeehvac.com. 615-775-7833 is the phone number. 615-775-7833. They've put in new units for me. They've repaired my old units and a whole lot more. They come through for me. They're going to come through for you as well. You can find them online at busybeehvac.com. They are your Rude Pro partner.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Forecasters say we're going to get to triple-digit heat index temperatures starting tomorrow. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now, just a state over, a manhunt underway for a double homicide suspect.
He is considered armed and dangerous at this time, and we need to make sure that nobody else is hurt.
That's Hunter McKee of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation says 50-year-old Stacy Lee Drake killed a man and a woman at a business near the Arkansas border. Now they think he may be hiding out about 50 miles north of Little Rock. Right now in Tennessee, scary moments for a Clarksville man telling Channel 4 about the moments he found what looked like a bomb.
The first thing that went through my mind was a homemade pipe bomb. I was like, all right, I got to stay calm. I got to stay cool. I got to make sure that I'm easy and careful with this thing. That way, nothing happens.
Now, Alan Dennis says it was a black bag with what looked like a fuse coming out of it. Police were called. The bomb squad deployed. The device was, as authorities put it, rendered safe. They're still investigating. And a Nashville man tells Channel 4 he's embarrassed after losing $9,000 to a woman he met on Facebook who convinced him to invest in her cryptocurrency website.
I went out there and tried to withdraw money out of that account. It won't let me. It failed twice. That's when I knew it's like, okay, I've been had. Of course, I should have recognized all the red flags from everything.
Yeah, he says he could never confirm her identity, and then she never wanted to talk in person. The FBI says this scam is called pig butchering. It resulted in almost $4 billion in losses last year alone. And right now in Louisiana, the ACLU and other groups vowing court challenges to what Governor Jeff Landry signed yesterday.
This bill mandates the display of the Ten Commandments in every classroom in public, elementary, secondary, and post-education schools in the state of Louisiana.
Now, if it sticks, that law goes into effect next year. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 632 Nashville's Morning News. I've been telling you about my friends at Stoltz Co. for years. I've had actually people come up to me and say, thank you for introducing me to Stoltz Co. Now, they build incredible pole barns. You can put them up anywhere, and they can function as anything. Now, Stoltz Co. is among the elite in pole barn construction here in Middle Tennessee. For me, it's all about their flexibility. Go to their website, stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO, stoltzco.com, and take a look for yourself at their amazing construction. You can build one for your cars, your horses. You can utilize one as an event space. You can even live in one. We call them barn dominiums. Check them out online. Again, they're also on Instagram and Facebook as well. Simply call them for an estimate. As always, please tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-622-5992. 615-622-5992. You're not going to be disappointed. That website, one more time for Stoltzco, it is stoltzco.com. .637 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Partly cloudy today, high of 93. It's going to feel hotter than that. There is a lot going on as far as politics goes. And, you know, we had this call, this guy from North Carolina who's really befuddled.
How in the hell is Joe Biden leading Donald Trump in the polls? Are the American people that sick? They need to wake the hell up.
Well, he was calling the super text line at 615-737-9986. Yeah, you can send voice messages as well. And yeah, there is a new poll out there that shows that Joe Biden is up by 2 in a new poll. But here's the deal. There's other polling that shows that Donald Trump is either tied or leading Joe Biden. So this is why I don't always focus so heavily on these polls, because oftentimes, friends, they are so contradictory. And it drives me nuts. It really does. But what you need to do, and there's a headline out there today. You've got where it looks like Donald Trump is going to possibly win Virginia, Things are really close in Minnesota as well. Iowa, you got Donald Trump. He is up in double digits. Then you look at all of those battleground states as well. And I mean, every day we tell you what's going on in those battleground states. And every day it shows that Trump is beating Joe Biden in states that Joe Biden should actually be winning. And again, then you look at Virginia, where Virginia is now in play. Then you look at Minnesota, where apparently it is also in play. And this is a big deal. And this is something to really think about, because that, I believe, shows you either the power of Donald Trump, says the Trump supporter, or how really poorly Joe Biden is doing. Now, Frank Luntz, if you don't know who Frank Luntz is, he is one of these big-time pollsters, and he's also a guy who has interviewed a lot regarding politics. And so he was talking about the fact that Donald Trump is leading in Iowa by double digits, and Minnesota, the fact that this is even close in Minnesota is amazing. Here's what Frank Luntz has said.
To me, it's not that Donald Trump is winning so big in Iowa. That's not the story. It's that he's making it close in Minnesota. Minnesota is a reliable Democratic state. It votes Democrat in every presidential campaign, and poll after poll, I see Trump within 2 or 3 points in Minnesota. I don't think the media understands exactly what's going on right now. Yes, Trump dropped a few points after being found guilty on 34 felony accounts. But remember this, that would have destroyed any candidate as recently as 10 years ago.
See, that's exactly right. Frank Luntz is right. He's been wrong a lot, but he's also been right a lot. In this case, he is correct that years ago, and frankly, I would say any other candidate, it would have destroyed that candidate. But you see, what he said, the media doesn't understand. And the media is out there scratching their heads. Joe Biden and the Democrats and the progressives, they're all scratching their heads too. They can't understand. Everything was going to plan, according to their plan. Find the man, Donald Trump, make up a bunch of charges, and take him out. So then why is it still close? Why is he, as Frank Luntz says, why is Donald Trump not destroyed? I think part of this is because the American people, they do see that what is going on against Donald Trump is pure BS. And I think part of what's going on is that when you have so many different entities, so many different states, so many attorneys general going after Donald Trump one way or another, from trying to boot him off of the ballot in their particular states to, Fulton County, and at the federal level with the DOJ, what's going on in Manhattan, what's going on in New York. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so when you hear, and I've said this before, when you hear Joe Biden talk about, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, and they always go back to January 6th, which is exactly what I predicted on that January 6th years ago, is that the Democrats will never allow us to live this down. But the difference is so stark between what happened on that January 6th, where hundreds, maybe 1,000, I have no idea, people stormed the Capitol building in a protest gone awry. Did they not see the difference between that and our federal government going after, and a president going after his main political rival? I think the American people do see that, and I think the American people do understand that that is by far more of a threat to democracy than anything Donald Trump ever did. And by the way, I don't believe that Donald Trump had anything to do with January 6th. But for Joe Biden and his DOJ, I think he has everything to do with what is going on right now with Donald Trump. Whether it's meeting and coordinating with, the district attorney's office in Fulton County, Fannie Willis, to, his own DOJ going after Donald Trump with the special counsel investigation. That has Joe Biden's fingerprints all over it.
And the fact that Donald Trump is still even with, or in some cases leading Joe Biden after being found guilty of 34 felonies, oh my God, that is so significant. And one more point. I'm watching the independent vote. I don't believe that they're swinging back and forth between Trump and Biden. I think that they've decided that they hate both candidates. They hate both parties, and they're voting out of anger, out of desperation, out of resentment that this is where our political system has gotten. So be very careful in how you analyze what goes on from now through the debates, through the election, because I think there could be a hidden anger vote that surprises everyone on Election Day.
All right, so that is Frank Luntz. We'll have to see what happens. I think that people really, truly are angry, but he says it's a hidden anger vote. Oh, I don't think that people are hiding their anger. I don't think they're hiding their anger at all. So we've got a number of things going on reflective of that anger. Details straight ahead. Also, I'll give you a quick update on where the battlegrounds are for this Thursday, June 20th on Nashville's Morning News on WTN 645. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. 645, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As far as your weather goes, partly clouded today and a high of 93. And I think it's going to be, I'm not sure if Ken is back there. I think it's going to be a feels like temperature into the triple digits. And right now, 70 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So looking at some of the polling that is out there, you've got all the latest polling, which the general election, Trump versus Biden. This is what people are talking about this morning. CNN breathlessly talking about this, by the way, because it's good for their guy, right? Biden at 50%, Donald Trump at 48%. When you put everybody in there. And again, this is just the latest polling this morning. And every day there's different polling out there, but you have all five candidates. Then you've got Biden up by one. But it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, it's all about the battleground states. And in the battleground states, it's basically, I'm looking at the numbers now, and it's still all about Donald Trump. Arizona, Trump up by 4.6. Nevada, you've got Trump up by 5.3. Wisconsin, Trump is up by... I need new glasses, guys. I think this is what this is. Arizona, Trump is up 4.6. Nevada is Trump up 5.3. Wisconsin, Trump is up by 0.1. You've got Michigan, Trump is up by 0.3. Pennsylvania, Trump is up 2.3. North Carolina, Donald Trump is up by 5.3. And in Georgia, Trump is up 4.8. So I'm just here to tell you that... don't be fooled and don't be deceived by these general election polls, because that doesn't matter. It's how the former president Donald Trump is doing in the battleground states. And here's the other thing. All you have to do is look at the top topics that are out there today, the top issues. And the top issues, I mean, look, it's crime. It is the economy, inflation, immigration, and every single one of those issues has Joe Biden's dirty fingerprints all over it. And so for me, I think I hate to say this, especially when it comes to politics, but you would think anyway that common sense would prevail. Did you see what's going on in New York? Now, yesterday I told you about how there was a handful of folks, I think it was in Queens, and they were able to find and capture, beat the living crap out of this guy, called the police. The guy had attacked and raped that 13-year-old girl by knife point. Horrible, horrible story. The guy came in from another country, of course, Joe Biden's open border. And so there's another story out there this morning of anger. You just heard Frank Luntz talking about, this sort of hidden anger vote. I don't think that it's hidden. And so in New York, you have a lot of people now that are screaming at the top of their lungs that they are angry about what is going on, about the people that are being attacked. You know what I would like to see? I think this would be interesting. Somebody was calling for this, and I haven't really thought about this, but don't you think the people of any given city or state should be allowed to vote on whether they are a sanctuary city or sanctuary state? What do you think Chicago? What do you think Chicagoans would say? What do you think folks in the Windy City would say if they had a vote right now, like a referendum or something, and they were allowed to vote and decide whether or not they are a sanctuary city? And if the people of Chicago, the people of Illinois, well, I can guarantee you the people of Illinois would not want to be a sanctuary city. It's people of Chicago with what they've experienced. I can't imagine they would still want to be a sanctuary city after everything that they've been through. You can talk about the same thing in places like San Diego, California, that has been overrun. Los Angeles, California as well. You can talk about the Manhattan. That's where this other story was from, where people in New York, they're really angry. And now they're really speaking out about how much of a train wreck that city has become. And they're blaming, Governor Hochul, but they're also blaming Mayor Eric Adams, mayor of New York, and also they're blaming Joe Biden. And so when you look at these things that are going on across the country, and you look at the anger that people are feeling, I don't think I would, respectfully disagree with Frank Luntz. Nope, I don't think that anger is hidden. I don't think that anger is hidden at all. And I'm reasonably certain that you don't believe that anger is hidden at all. You and me and a lot of us feel that anger every single day, especially when we see stories like this. Did you see this? I'll touch on this on the other side, but I'll just tell you real quick what the headline is. It's a big day in the city of Los Angeles. Their brand new luxury apartment building is now open for the homeless. Each unit costs $600,000 in the $165 million project. Meantime, you got people in Los Angeles who can barely afford to pay their rent. They can barely afford to pay their mortgage. And yet these homeless people now, they have a gym, they have a restaurant, they have this homeless shelter that is, you know what it looks like? It looks like one of these brand new townhome or apartment complexes here in Nashville. That's what it looks like. And that's what California is doing for the homeless, while the working people of the city and the state of Los Angeles and California are barely hanging on. It is 6:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. This is the official jewelry store of my home, as a matter of fact. This is where Amy and I go to buy all my jewelry these days, and it is a great place to shop. Now, the best thing about these folks is that they have a huge selection of anything you need. So if you need a birthday present, you've got an anniversary coming up, you've got maybe a wedding coming up, whatever it is, no matter the season or the reason, Brentwood Jewelry has all kinds of gift options for you to choose from. And guess what? You get there, they've always got something within your budget and Most importantly, no upselling. That's what I love about Brentwood Jewelry. I also love that you walk into Brentwood Jewelry and they've got American flags everywhere. This is a great American company that appreciates conservative values. Located in the heart of Brentwood, 7012 Church Street East, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Shop in store or online at BrentwoodJewelry.com. It is 6:53 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news at 7 o'clock?
Well, we've got pay raises up for votes today in Williamson County. Pay raises for cops over in Rutherford County. Massive manhunt one state over. More patients joined the class action lawsuit against Vanderbilt University Medical Center over transgender records. The Vols advance in the College World Series finals. Pat Sajak drew a crowd of millions and is going to cost billions to buy a particular rock band's entire catalog at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast traffic in 5 minutes. That first named storm of the hurricane season is a deadly one. Melissa Adon in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Tropical Storm Alberto, the first named storm of the season, slamming into coastal Texas after wreaking havoc in Mexico and leaving 3 dead. As officials warn of an above-average hurricane season for the Atlantic.
Here in Middle Tennessee, Williamson County commissioners meet today, expected to vote on the budget, which the school board approved with a 6% pay raise for teachers. And in Rutherford County, Murfreesboro's budget has passed without any tax increases, and there are pay raises for cops. Well, police are busy just one state over. Massive manhunt in Arkansas.
He could have been here last night at the bar for all we know.
That's Michelle Cheek, bar owner in Marlton, Arkansas, about 50 miles north of Little Rock. Investigators say 50-year-old Stacy Lee Drake killed 2 people in Oklahoma yesterday, then was later spotted buying camping gear in Arkansas.
As soon as we were able to identify Mr. Drake, we let Arkansas authorities know, and we've been working constantly with them all night, all morning, and we will continue to until he's found.
Right now in Nashville, more Vanderbilt patients have joined a class action lawsuit related to the release of transgender patients' records, which the hospital says was required by law when the Attorney General started investigating a billing issue. News 2 says a dozen more patients have added their names, claiming the hospital released pictures of body parts, gender identity, mental health information, names of intimate partners. 3 Vanderbilt University students expected in court today for charges related to forcing their way into a building to protest the war in Gaza. Several students and a reporter were arrested. The reporter has since been cleared of any wrongdoing. And turning to sports.
On a line to short and caught by Curley. Tennessee is headed to the finals of the College World Series.
That's the call on ESPN. The Vols are going to take on Texas A&M. The third time in the past 3 seasons that 2 SEC teams will play for the national championship, and the matchup means an SEC team will be the champions for a 5th straight time. Entertainment news, Jason Nathanson.
Pat Sajak's final goodbye as host of Wheel of Fortune.
It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes, night after night, year after year.
It drew an audience of 11 million viewers, the highest for the show since April of 2020. The June 7th episode was also the most watched show that week on broadcaster cable, excluding sports. Sajak retired at age 77 after 41 seasons of hosting the syndicated game show. Ryan Seacrest takes over as host next season.
And big money in the music biz. The entire catalog of the rock band Queen to be sold to Sony for $1.2 billion. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures up 31, S&P up 21, NASDAQ futures up 101. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:08, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And welcome on in. Summer solstice day. I get easy for me to say. I just said it off the air correctly, didn't I, Johnny? I said summer solstice.
You did. Yeah, you did.
And then, of course,
shank.
Like what happens all the time with me, I shank it on the air. Summer solstice day.
Yeah.
The longest day of the year.
Longest day of the year, Brother Dan Mandis.
Is that why this show feels like it's going on for like hours and hours and hours?
It's the solstice.
Is it the solstice effect?
Yes, it is the solstice version. The dance version.
We have not been drinking yet. Anyway.
Not yet.
So it is the longest day of the year.
Yeah.
Which means it is going to be really hard for yours truly to go to bed, but that's okay.
Don't you worry about it.
And by the way, the super texter says, you think the show's been long for you. Think about us. Whatever, man.
That's a good one.
Think about the listening audience.
That's exactly right. You know what? My deepest sympathies. I'm sorry. Guy named Christopher on the F&M Bank chat line. He says that if you're over there on YouTube or Facebook, whatever, and you're watching us, Christopher says, if I ever leave the Republican Party, it's going to be because of WTN.
Wow.
He says, we're all just a bunch of disingenuous holes.
Wow. Goodness.
He did. He called us holes on the chat line.
Man.
And so you know what happens is people start bashing us on the chat line, and then, people come over to the text line and they they tell on the people who are bashing us on the F&M Bank chat line, where Christopher called us holes. So there you go.
Now, no summer salsa for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly why he thinks that we are disingenuous.
And to blame.
I don't know. Yeah. Now, Dana says, and she's chimed in, apparently I'm saying all the right and the wrong things today. Dana says, when are Republicans going to stop talking about what Joe Biden is doing and talk about who's really in charge? Well, I've said that, I think, at least twice today.
Yeah.
Where
at least
I think we all have to agree that Joe Biden is not running the country. It is Barack Obama in his sweatpants, in his underwear. I'm sorry for the visual, down in his basement. And Joe is just, the puppet, and not a good one at that.
You mean Obama's the puppet?
No, Obama would be the puppet master.
Yes.
And Joe's
the puppet master. Sorry about that.
It's okay. That's okay, Ken.
It's summer salsa.
Summer salsa.
Better watch it, Ken. I'll call you a hole.
Ken enjoying summer salsa.
A little too much of it.
Apparently so. Anyway, moving right along. It is 7:10 on Nashville's Morning News. She's right, though, by the way, Dana. You know, I was talking about what would happen if you asked the people of Chicago, the people of New York, what would happen if they were allowed to vote, like on a referendum, whether or not they should continue to be a sanctuary city. And more than one person, I would say several people, said, well, they do when they vote for Democrats. I mean, that is a great point. When you vote for Democrats, you know what you get. And I'm right there with you folks. I mean, I don't feel sorry for the people of Chicago, the fine people of Chicago, the fine people of New York. You voted for this and you signed up for this. People in Los Angeles, up in arms. I was talking about this before the break. People in Los Angeles, up in arms. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. We've got a many $million building specifically for homeless people. Each unit is like $600,000. Meantime, the people in LA, they can't afford their rent or their mortgage. And they're afraid to go outside because of all of the crime. Yet these homeless people, they're going to get, a brand new building. It's like when you go into a new building here in Nashville and it's brand new townhomes and it's got the new paint smell and all of that. And it's got a brand new gym and all that. That's what these homeless people are getting in Los Angeles. And the sad part about all of that is that building's going to be trashed. I mean, you know that's coming, right? That building is going to, it cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. And by the way, you've got thousands of homeless people that are in California, generally speaking, and you think they're really going to take care of this building where they're basically getting for free? Of course they're not going to take care of it. They've got no skin in the game. And so my message to the fine people of Los Angeles, and I can tell you as a thankfully long gone former Los Angelino, is that you voted for this. Now you get to wallow in it. I'm just saying. A lot of those people, of course, as you know, coming to Tennessee. There's been not one, but two stories. I saw this in the news, and then I'm going to get to where I was going with this whole thing. But I saw there's a story in the Daily Mail, and it was last week, and another one, I can't remember what website it was. But they're talking about how the people of Nashville are really ticked off because of all of these Californians and all of these, foreigners, as in from other states, are moving to Nashville. And that was a big story a while ago, but then that sort of abated, and I'm not entirely certain why. I think because the influx then started going to other states like Florida and Texas and so forth. But it seems like that storyline, that narrative is happening again. And in the Daily Mail, it was, one of the top stories where Nashville is just encountering this huge influx of people that are fleeing that kind of crap in Los Angeles and in California, where they got all these, this high-rise homeless building, brand new, and these homeless people get $600,000 worth of units each. It is insane. So, you know what? And I know, nobody wants Californians. The Californians that are moving here, and from other states as well, they are fleeing the tyranny of progressivism, which they are experiencing, have been experiencing in their home states. So it is my hope, obviously, that they're coming here with an appreciation for Southern values. It is 7:15, time to check the roads on WTN. 7:15 on Super Talk 99.7. Partly cloudy today, a high of 93. And right now it is 70. Johnny, you told me, is it 75?
72.
72 degrees at don't worry, it'll get hotter. Right now, 72 degrees at Super Talk. It'll be 75 in like 2 minutes. I guarantee you. Summer solstice day, longest day of the year, kicking off summer as well. Big headline this morning, Metro Nashville PD review of Vanderbilt University Medical Center records. This is what I was afraid of. Covenant killer Audrey Hale had thoughts of killing dad, struggles with mental health, and recent thoughts of going into a school and shooting up a bunch of people. And Vandy knew about it. Just like that therapist knew about it. And according to the Tennessee Star, they didn't tell anyone. The Tennessee Star has obtained a Metro Nashville Police Department internal document labeled Vandy Psych, which appears to be notes taken by a Metro Nashville police officer tasked with reviewing documents obtained via a search warrant granted for Vanderbilt Psychiatric Hospital, part of the Vanderbilt University Medical Center. This was back on June 1st of 2023. The notes indicate that on page 38 of the document retrieved from Vandy, the police officer saw that Covenant killer Audrey Hale, who killed 6 people at Covenant School in Nashville on March 27th of 2023, had thoughts of killing dad in and struggles with mental health. Recent thoughts of going into a school and shooting a bunch of people. And apparently they told no one. Based on the Vandy materials retrieved by police, the notes appear to complement and corroborate additional details obtained by the Tennessee Star. Now, Michael Patrick Leahy was on Mark Levin's show last night, as a matter of fact, and y'all know Michael Patrick Leahy. He's our friend, and this is what he told Mark Levin.
And we have police notes of documents obtained from her treatment there, from Vanderbilt University Medical Center professionals, in which she said she wanted to kill her father and fantasized about a mass shooting at a school. There's a duty to warn law here, Mark, in Tennessee. And from what we can tell, nobody at Vanderbilt University Medical Center followed that duty to warn. The father was not warned, and no other precautions were undertaken.
How do you not do that? How do you not follow through with that duty to warn? Apparently, the documentation provided by a source familiar with the Metro Nashville Police Department investigation, telling the Star that Chief John Drake, Metro Nashville PD John Drake, acknowledged to them that VUMC had knowledge that Hale expressed to mental health professionals there that she had thoughts of killing her father, fantasizing about committing a mass murder at a school, failed in its duty to warn potential victims. I mean, shooting up a school is specific, but also, okay, which school? But, killing your father, that is a very specific victim that needed to be warned. Now, she didn't do that ultimately, but still, that would have been clearly a tip-off that something was awry. The Star has learned that Drake acknowledged Vandy staff failed to adhere to Tennessee Code 33-3-206, which at the time of Hale's March 27th, 2023 attack, mandated mental health professionals and behavioral analysts shall take reasonable care to predict, warn of, or take precautions to protect the identified victim from the service recipient's violent behavior. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. And that's going to be the big question, is why. And I do understand that Vandy has a certain place in our town, and I understand that. But I mean, if this is to protect Vandy, and if this is to protect those that knew this was a possibility and yet they didn't warn the authorities, and that's why they want to keep all of this quiet, well, that is just wrong. And that would tell me that what they're trying to do is keep all of this under wraps to protect those that didn't fulfill that obligation, that duty to warn. I think that's part of what's going on. Oh, but wait, there's more. They say upon learning of a mental health patient's threat, a Tennessee Code 33-3-207 explains they are meant to inform identified victims take steps to voluntarily or involuntarily commit the patient and continue mental health treatment. While there is no criminal penalty for mental health professionals who neglected their duty to warn, Tennessee Code 33-3-209 suggests mental health professionals who fail to warn could face monetary liability in court. However, Tennessee Code Title 28 appears to limit civil actions in personal injury to just 1 year. Just 1 year. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe if that is the case, are they trying to run out the statute of limitations? Keep all of this stuff buried until that runs out? Well, I mean, it has. Because it happened on March 27th. And that was, 15 or so months now after it happened. If it happened on March 27th, then that happened 15 months ago. So I don't know how all that statute of limitation stuff works. But that does tell you that something is going on. There's clearly a cover-up going on. And now realize, and we told you all about this the other day, his day in court where he shows up for a show cause hearing to defend himself and tell this judge, Aisha Miles, he'd done nothing wrong and had not actually posted the documents. He wrote about the documents and he got those documents legally. She wouldn't allow his lawyer to speak. Remember that? I played you the audio and everything. He spoke about that moment with Mark Levin last night.
The reaction to her conduct and really her denial of my civil rights and her denial of my right to have my attorney respond to the basic purpose of the show cause hearing has not been well received throughout all of Nashville. And so we'll just wait and see if she's going to assign a special prosecutor. She has no evidence. She has no reason. I've done nothing wrong. I'm just exercising my First Amendment rights. I have legally obtained these documents, and I have every right in the world, if I want to publish all these documents. But I've taken a more cautious approach because she's supposed to make a decision in the next couple of weeks about whether or not she'll release all 500 pages. And so we were just going to wait and see.
And one of the other things that he said is he doesn't believe, on the books, I guess it's a 10-day, he could spend 10 days in jail, but the reality is more than likely he will not be spending any time in jail. But it does seem like this judge just has it out for Michael Patrick Leahy, and they don't want the information to come out, regardless of the fact that most people do agree that if you want to avoid this, prevent this from happening again, you need to know all of that information. 723 on Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Why should you go to NetSuite's Business Grows Here event? I've been telling you about this event for quite some time now. Now, reason number one, it is a great place to make contacts. There's going to be all kinds of people there, leaders in not only the industry, but leaders in our city of Nashville, in the world of business. And number two, the speakers. You've got Burke Nihill, who is the CEO of the Tennessee Titans, Jamie Siminoff, founder of Ring Video Doorbell, among many, many others. So this is going to be a great event. Again, it is NetSuite's Business Grows Here event, and it is happening at the Conrad Hotel on Tuesday, June 25th. It is free, by the way, and there's a lot of great intel that you're going to get, how to raise capital, doing business in Tennessee, strategies and lessons learned along the way. And they'll also be talking about the growth of Nashville on the East Bank. So again, it is free. If you want to go, head over to this website. It's netsuite.com/Nashville, netsuite.com/Nashville. Lives can be changed and businesses can be created and grown. Sign up today. Again, the Conrad Hotel, Tuesday, June 25th, netsuite.com/Nashville. 724 on WTN. Ken Weaver, what's coming up at 7:30?
Tropical storm Alberto. Massive manhunt for a double homicide suspect. A Clarksville man describes finding what he says looked like a bomb. A Nashville man, too embarrassed to give his name, says he lost $9,000 to a woman he met on Facebook. Court challenges coming after Louisiana's governor signed a new bill into law at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com. .729 Nashville's Morning News on WTN. You know what I like to say: if you're not preparing, you're failing. If you're not preparing for emergencies, you are failing. Now, it could be any emergency. It could be something related to Mother Nature. Could be something related to China, Russia, North Korea, our own government. But that's why I really appreciate my endorsement of My Patriot Supply. Now, since 2008, My Patriot Supply has been helping millions of Americans gear up for emergencies with emergency food. And right now, they've got a great deal going on. Their 4-week emergency food kits are $50 off of each individual food kit. Free shipping included as well. So that means that you can stock up on this incredibly popular item. Again, 4-week emergency food kits, $50 off each, and free shipping as well. So yes, you can stock up. Now, each food kit offers over 2,000 calories every single day. Plus, with ultra durable 4-layer packaging, it's going to last up to 25 years in storage. And so this is a company you want to reach out to. My website, preparewithmandis.com, is where you can find that great deal. Again, preparewithmandis.com. You have no time to waste. Don't forget that great deal. 4-week emergency food kits, $50 off each. Free shipping as well. Preparewithmandis.com. Preparewithmandis.com.
7:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now, Tropical Storm Alberto hammering parts of Mexico and South Texas. Here's Melissa Adon.
The large storm hitting coastal Texas. Neighborhoods in Surfside, Texas flooded. Homes battered from the storm surge.
It was like really bad. The winds were coming.
Here in Corpus Christi, residents dealing with the storm surge of up to 4 feet.
Storm blame for 3 deaths in Mexico. Right now, just a state over, a manhunt underway for a double homicide suspect.
He is considered armed and dangerous at this time. and we need to make sure that nobody else is hurt.
That's Hunter McKee of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. Says 50-year-old Stacey Lee Drake killed a man and woman at a business near the Arkansas border, maybe hiding out in the woods about 50 miles north of Little Rock. Right now in Tennessee, scary moments for a Clarksville man telling Channel 4 about the moments he found what he thought was a bomb.
The first thing that went through my mind was a homemade pipe bomb. I was like, all right, I got to stay calm. I got to stay cool. I got to make sure that I'm easy and careful with this thing. That way, nothing happens.
Alan Dennis says it was a black bag with what looked like a fuse in it. Police were called. The bomb squad was deployed. The device was, as authorities put it, rendered safe. They're still investigating. And a Nashville man tells Channel 4 he's too embarrassed to give his name or show his face after losing $9,000 to a woman he met on Facebook who convinced him to invest in her cryptocurrency website.
I went out there and tried to withdraw money out of that account. It won't let me. It failed twice. That's when I knew it's like, okay, I've been had. Of course, I should have recognized all the red flags from everything.
Yeah, he says he should have known better because he can never confirm the woman's identity. She never wanted to talk in person. The FBI says the scam is called pig butchering. It's resulted in almost $4 billion in losses last year alone. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 7:32 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. It is an election year. I bet you're wondering if you're invested for the future and for your retirement, regardless of what happens. Well, I don't know how you're invested, so I can't answer that. But what I can tell you is that Paul Winkler and his team can help you get the answers and the information that you need. Now, Paul has been on the radio here in Middle Tennessee for nearly 20 years. And he and his team, they're all former investment brokers and insurance agents. One was even a securities attorney who worked for a big financial company. They know the investing world inside and out. And yes, they are ready to put that knowledge to work for you. Check out Paul and his entire team, paulwinkler.com. These folks are fee-based. In other words, no commissions, which means they're not trying to sell you something. They want to teach you how to relax about money. Now, they do want, I do need to tell you that I get paid every time I do these commercials, but I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't believe in Paul and his products. Call them today, 615-851-1950. Paul and his experience is just incredible. 615-851-1950. You can find them online. It is paulwinkler.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
7:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I got a question. And this has nothing to do with, news ripped from the headlines or anything else, but it's just a question. It's kind of personal, but I'm not going to get into the details. But Ken and Johnny, I'm wondering what your opinion is on this.
Let's hear it, Brother Dan Mandis.
So in order to get a certification to be like a welder or an HVAC guy, to get that certification, you need a high school diploma or a GED. Now, I'm just going to say very generally, I know a guy, mid-20s, and he's good guy, and he is very well-meaning, dropped out of high school. It's a whole thing. He wanted to go to work. The high school thing wasn't working for him, and he bailed. And I don't know actually how smart he is because I've never really engaged with him in that way. But, I mean, he knows how to do math and he knows how to use a calculator. He's very well-spoken, but he doesn't have a high school diploma or a GED. He knows how to weld. He does amazing pieces. And I've spoken to HVAC-type people as well. And one of the things that is holding some of these people back is the fact that they either can't afford to get the GED, they can't afford to take the classes, they don't have a high school diploma to get the certifications you need for a big money, job like a certified welder where they can go out and make, I don't know, 75, 80, 100. I have no idea how much welders make, but I do know it's a lot of money. I may go start to weld if this doesn't work out. But you know what the thing is? You need a high school education or a diploma or a GED. Do you think that's the right thing to do? Do you think people should have to have a high school diploma or a GED to get a welding certification or an HVAC certification, that kind of a thing?
That's a good question.
I think it is a good question.
I'd have to study it further.
I probably should have studied it too because I'm just talking out my where. But I am just curious. Super texters, what do you think? And I bet you there's a reason why. 615-737-9986.
I got a buddy who I don't know if he's certified to do the things that he does. I do know that he's very intelligent. But this guy, he can weld.
Yeah.
He can operate backhoes, other construction equipment. He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And he's been that way ever since I've known him in high school. And I don't know if he ever went out and got certified by those things, but he's had those type of jobs that I know of ever since I've known him.
But a lot of these places, they want you to have that certification. So if you go to any HVAC company or any welding company or construction company, you can go one of two routes. If you want to be a welder, but you want to make the good money, you've got to get that certification.
Yeah.
And I believe it's the same for the HVAC in order to get that certification. Now, people are chiming in on the super text line. Holy mackerel.
What are they saying?
You know what? To be honest, it's all coming in so fast, I'm having a hard time reading it all. But people are all over the place. Some people say that you should need a high school diploma. Other people are saying getting a GED is no big deal. One guy, Josh, said this is all BS, having to get this GED. If I know how to weld and I know how to, go through the training and I could do the math and whatever needs to be done for the HVAC, why should I have to go and pay hundreds of dollars to take a GED when I can go get the training at one of these vocational schools and go out and work?
Yeah.
And I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, why are you forced into the public school system?
Well, I'm going to tell you why, Ken. It's because
it's money.
It's money. That's exactly what it is. It's money. But here's the dumb thing. So you take a guy that is right now making, I don't know, $14 an hour as a welder that is non-certified, and he's doing whatever non-certified welder jobs non-certified welders are allowed to do.
Looks like they make about $20 to $22 per hour.
But if you're certified, you can make a lot more than that. So if you just let those people go and take that training, get the certification, and then go to work, do you know how much more of a tax base you are building?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we don't have income tax in this state, but I mean, you're gonna broaden, the amount of money that people are able to spend on other stuff, and that way you get more money from a sales tax perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why we do this.
I'm seeing up to $25 an hour in Columbia, Tennessee.
For a certified, non-certified welder?
I don't know if it's certified, but welder salary, $20 to $25 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Which seems about the average across the state, $20 to $25, as low as $18 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, and then, if you build your business or your reputation, your services become in higher demand, you probably make more money.
Well, and one guy, 4851, one person apparently in Georgia says, let's lower the bar for everyone. So that's a reasonable response. Let's lower the bar for everyone. But if you go through your training, then does it matter?
Right.
And I don't think it does matter. I mean,
if you're good at it and you show up at it.
Yes, that's exactly right. A lot of these various companies, they've dropped the requirement for a college education for obvious reasons. But here's the other part of that. If you drop the requirement for a high school diploma or a GED, but specifically a high school diploma, then what you're doing is I think we're onto something. You're encouraging kids to drop out. If kids drop out of school to go straight into vocational school, then the state will lose money because they get federal funds by the amount of students that are in the classroom.
Yeah.
And how many students, I will tell you, when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I wanted to drop out in the worst way. Now, I can't fix a thing. I can barely screw in a light bulb, so I didn't have vocational school as part of my list of options, and so I'm glad that I finished high school. But if you're a kid and you're 15 years old and you know that you can go straight into vocational school, that could be like a push for kids to leave high school and go straight to vocational school, and the state would lose money.
I tell you what, a lot of my friends who grew up on the ranches and farms in Oklahoma, man, they just grew up learning how to do things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, their dads taught them. Welding and all kinds of things.
Man, I never learned.
Oh, I didn't either.
That seems to be a common theme in my life. I just never learned. Anyway, 746 on WTN, time to check the roads. $7:47, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As far as your weather today, partly cloudy, a high of 93. It is Summer Solstice Day, 2024.
Or as Ken Weaver says, Summer Salsa.
Summer Salsa Day.
Summer Salsa Day. You know what? I'm more comfortable with saying summer salsa than summer solstice.
Me too.
Because I've been shanking that all day.
Yeah, I'll shank it too, I'm sure.
Speaking of shanking, Kevin says, oh yeah, mediocrity is what we should be going for. Apparently Kevin thinks that by saying kids ought to be able to get adults should be able to get a certification at a vocation without a high school education or a diploma or a GED. He thinks that is promoting mediocrity.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I see why Kevin says that. I do understand that.
I mean, there is something to be said for, things that you learn by completing school. You learn different responsibilities, that you need to be somewhere at a certain time, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
that's a parental thing too. But you're right. If you got to be in class at 8, you got to be in class at 8.
Right.
Yeah, it goes for radio boys. That's Got to be somewhere by 9. You should be somewhere by 9.
You should be you should.
Well, unless you can tape your first segment and email it in. You could do that too. I've actually had talk show hosts ask me if they could do that. Have I mentioned how glad I am not to be in management anymore? Anyway, moving right along.
Yes, you have, Brother Dan. Man.
Hey, by the way, speaking of mediocrity, Alejandro Mayorkas was on MSNBC. And,
America is not a democracy because...
I don't know where... Is that me, Johnny?
That's you.
That's me.
That's not me, Brother Dan.
Speaking
Mandis.
of mediocrity, Mandis doesn't know how to run the board in his own studio. Alejandro Mayorkas was on MSNBC, and he was asked a question about Rachel Marin, who, of course, was killed by that illegal alien.
Jim, let's take a look a few years back when we provided this relief for spouses of U.S. service members, men and women who have served our country in uniform and have been willing to risk their lives, and too many have indeed made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of our country. That is what we have expanded upon today.
Right. Mayorkas was on with Jim Acosta, and he stated the fact that the American people overwhelmingly support this concept of mass deportation. Jim Acosta actually asked Alejandro Mayorkas about that. 62% of the American people agree that we should have mass deportation. Back in 2016, it was 30%, and that was his answer. He didn't have a response to it. He just said, "Oh no, the American people are overwhelmingly for it." Well, they're really not, as a matter of fact. One of the other things that happened was, and this was a moment that did not look good for the Biden administration. He was asked about the woman killed in Maryland.
Our hearts break for the children of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother.
What was her name, Alejandro? The woman, the individual?
Murder, the woman, the mother.
I mean, what a shame. And so the mother of the individual, the woman, the mother of 5, that was killed by an illegal alien, her mother was on Fox News last night and responded.
My reaction is that it's a completely political statement because they're not even willing to acknowledge that she was a female, that she was a mother, a daughter. It totally depersonalizes her and makes her an object.
Absolutely right. And for Alejandro Mayorkas and the Biden administration, they refuse to acknowledge or accept the absolute carnage that they have caused. And every day, I think there's another one today. I'm seeing headlines here and there of another story today about an American killed by an illegal alien, and I'll see if I can dig it up for you. But it's every day. It's every day. Some are more horrifying than others. Sometimes it's a guy behind the wheel of a car drunk. Other times it's a person who has been kidnapped, killed in a trail like we saw in Maryland out hiking. But it goes on and on and on. Hey, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, a couple of things I want to do. Roger Stone, Donald Trump ally Roger Stone, massive headlines this morning. He is admitting that he is going to try to, some people are saying this, he is going to try to challenge the 2024 election results. Dun, dun, dun. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. At 7:52, I'm going to tell you about my friends at Cove Generators. Listen, if you don't have a backup home standby generator from my friends at Cove Generators, you need to pick up the phone and call them today at 931-559-3311. Here's why. Because right now, a great deal. Listeners to my show get a free 10-year warranty, $500 off when you mention my name, Dan Mandis, and Cove Generators. So call my buddy, Generator Dave. He's going to answer all your questions. If you've been thinking about getting a generator, now is the perfect time because you're going to get a free upgraded, 10-year warranty, $500 off when you mention my name, Dan Mandis. Cove Generators, they are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer in Tennessee. CoveGenerators.com is the phone number. Never lose power again when you call and buy a generator from my friends at Cove Generators, 931-559-3311, 931-559-3311, CoveGenerators.com. Terms and conditions may apply. It is 7:53 on WTN. And Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Well, Tropical Storm Alberto has made landfall. Manhunt for a double murder suspect ongoing, and more patients joining the class action lawsuit over the release of transgender records at Vanderbilt University Medical Center at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, coming up in the next hour, couple of things. Number one, Roger Stone, Trump ally Roger Stone, threatening to challenge the election of 2024 and, cue the hysteria on the media. So we've got that story for you, and wait till you hear what he said. Also, Louis C.K., these comments have now, I would say, come back to haunt him when he's talking about illegal immigration.
What'll really happen? A bunch of people, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
Yes, that is actually what's happening, Louis C.K. So details on that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Eight o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Tropical storm Alberto is whipping up tornadoes in southern Texas.
Well, its point of landfall is well south of the Rio Grande. Alberto occupies a huge chunk of the western Gulf of Mexico. Rudy Torres lives in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Stocked up on water and pretty much everything we were able to do to take precautions. Bought extra batteries, lights, bought a couple of generators.
Up to 10 inches of rain has fallen on the South Texas coast. Alberto also has spot-off tornado sightings with reports of some minor damage.
That's Jim Ryan reporting. Massive manhunt right now, one state over in Arkansas.
He could have been here last night at the bar for all we know.
That's Michelle Cheek, owns a bar there in Marlton, Arkansas, about 50 miles north of Little Rock. Investigators say 50-year-old Stacy Lee Drake killed 2 people in Oklahoma, then bought camping gear in Arkansas.
As soon as we were able to identify Mr. Drake, we let Arkansas authorities know, and we've been working constantly with them all night, all morning, and we will continue to until he's found.
Right now in Nashville, more Vanderbilt patients have joined a class action lawsuit related to release of transgender patients' records, which the hospital says was required by law when the Attorney General started investigating a billing issue. News 2 says a dozen more patients have added their names, claiming the hospital released pictures of body parts, gender identity, mental health information, names of intimate partners. 3 Vanderbilt University students expected in court today for charges related to forcing their way into a building to protest the war in Gaza. Several students and a reporter were arrested that day. The reporter has since been cleared of any wrongdoing. And turning to sports.
On a line to short and caught by Curley. Tennessee is headed to the finals of the College World Series.
The call on ESPN, the Vols will take on Texas A&M. The third time in the past 3 seasons that 2 SEC teams will play for the national championship, and the matchup means an SEC team will be the champions for a 5th straight time. Entertainment news, Jason Nathanson says Pat Sajak sure did draw a crowd.
Pat Sajak's final goodbye as host of Wheel of Fortune.
It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes night after night, year after year.
It drew an audience of 11 million viewers, the highest for the show since April of 2020. The June 7th episode was also the most watched show that week on broadcast or cable, excluding sports. Sajak retired at age 77 after 41 seasons of hosting the syndicated game show. Ryan Seacrest takes over as host next season.
Used to be a weatherman in Nashville, I hear. Music business news. Queen's entire catalog of music being sold to Sony for $1.2 billion. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Right now, Dow futures up 9, S&P up 18, NASDAQ up 87. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Roger Stone, that insurrectionist. So, blaring headlines all over the place this morning. And this is one such. Roger Stone caught on tape discussing Trump's plan to challenge the 2024 election. So, can I just say, I don't know what's wrong with some of these guys, but a couple of pretty girls come up to Roger Stone at a thing, and they start talking to him, and they start professing their love for him, saying that he's a fan, they're fans and everything. And so he starts talking about all of these things that Donald Trump is going to do when, if and when he loses the election. And so all over the media today, you do have the stories about how Trump is, going to once again become an insurrectionist, right? All they're talking about doing I listened to the audio. It's not very good audio because it's loud and it's, the typical, hidden microphone audio. But basically, all Roger Stone is saying is that they're going to hire attorneys and they've got a great ground game and they're going to do everything they possibly can to make sure that we have a free and fair election in 2024. Oh, and by the way, if it looks like there's hijinks and shenanigans or flooding toilets, they're going to be ready. There's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, guess what? Joe Biden, I will remind the Democrats and I will remind you, Joe Biden had literally 400 election attorneys if he lost the 2020 election. So, to me, Donald Trump, if he's not doing this, if he's not preparing to lose the election, I hope and pray and believe that he's going to win. But if he doesn't, he's got to be ready. So, yeah, the Republicans do need a ground game. And Donald Trump does need a ground game. And they need to be ready. So if you see that story, you'll see that Roger Stone started talking to, a couple of pretty girls, and he started giving away the playbook. But when you listen to the playbook, there's nothing wrong with the playbook. Trump is doing nothing that the Democrats aren't doing. And by the way, if there is some, shady stuff going on in the election of 2024, then absolutely, Donald Trump needs to have, 800 election attorneys to make sure that this is a free and fair election. So that is what needs to happen. And if you read the story, knock yourself out, but it's just kind of a silly story. Speaking of deep fakes or cheap fakes. Oh, I saw a really funny meme. Let me bring it up real quick. A really funny meme. Let me find it real quick. It says cheap fakes. It's like a definition, right? Cheap fakes. Any obvious blunder by Joe Biden that the Democrats don't want you to know about. And that's what it is. The Democrats don't want you to see this stuff. So there's some cheap fake news out there that we're going to talk about with Chris Hand coming up at 5:35. I do find this whole thing, what's the right way to put this? Rather silly. Because the Biden administration, I don't want to go on and on about this today, but the Biden administration clearly just doesn't want you to see what all of us can plainly see and understand about Joe Biden. Now, in other news, there's other things going on, and I thought this was funny. Very bizarre. Louis C.K. Now, he made these comments a while ago. He's that comedian. And you'll recall that he has exhibited bad judgment in the past. He's the comedian that exposed himself and did some things in front of other people that he shouldn't have been doing. You can Google that if you want. I can't talk about it on the radio. But here's the thing. He was on with Joe Rogan. And it's clear that he has a bad judgment in a number of different ways, because this is what he said regarding illegal immigration and our borders. Listen close.
My feeling is they should open the border and just let them pour in, let everybody pour in. And then the answer, which is, well, then there'll be all these problems. What'll really happen? A bunch of people, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
Isn't that a bizarre statement? What an utterly bizarre statement. Now, when this interview was done a while back, we had already seen illegal aliens killing Americans, yet he is so completely clueless that he, it would appear, has no idea.
What'll really happen? A bunch of people, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
Well, Louis C.K., you might want to familiarize yourself with the mother of Rachel Marin, who was killed by one of those illegal aliens that you want to let flow into our country. You know, the ones that won't start killing people.
It never leaves our mind that Rachel's gone because of all the things that we do in our life that she was a part of. So we're constantly reminded of Rachel, and it just makes you feel so sad because there's such a hole in our family.
Yeah. I mean, see, it's insane when you understand the consequences and the ramifications of Joe Biden's open border policy. You've got Rachel Marin killed by an illegal alien. We talked about that quite a bit yesterday. You have day in, day out stories of illegals raping and murdering folks, yet you've got Louis C.K. saying...
What'll really happen? A bunch of people, will they just come with knives and start killing everybody? I don't think so.
Well, I do. And actually, the experience has been that is exactly what is happening. Now, I want to play some more of this audio from Louis C.K. with Joe Rogan, and it'll give this even more context. This is like the left saying the quiet part out loud, how they hate America and they want it to change.
It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America. It shouldn't be. It's a weird thing to sequester a certain group of people and try to keep upping their lifespan and their lifestyle and just keep trying to increase that for this group of people. And then and then this pressure of people trying to come in so they can enjoy it. There's something wrong with that. That's not a system that's working, and it forces people to do cruel things to other people. There's a lot of people that die so Americans can be safe.
Isn't that just a bizarre thing to say? Because it's almost like, forget about the fact that we had the Revolutionary War so that we could forge our own path, build our own country, and tell the British to go blank themselves. But that's what we did. We fought to form our country. We fought to protect our country. People have fought and died for our country to be free, to be great, and to be safe. And people have died for that sovereignty. Yet you've got Louis C.K. that is just like, oh, why does America have to be so great? Let's knock America down a few pegs. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. I mean, it's like he thinks that we just plopped down a few tents and log cabins and decided to start a country and everybody else can just go to hell. But the reality is that we fought for this land. We fought for this country. We defended our freedoms time and time again.
It shouldn't be so great here, is what I'm saying, in America.
I mean, I don't necessarily believe that he really understands the logic that he's trying to throw down. I don't understand a lot of liberal thinking, to be honest. But, let's talk about people that do matter, because I don't think that Louis C.K. does matter. I was also a little surprised that he didn't get more pushback from Joe Rogan. But beyond all that, the mother of Rachel Marin, who has been very bravely making the rounds on TV and cable, calling out the Biden administration and Alejandro Mayorkas and others. We're going to talk about that straight ahead. Must hear audio this morning on Super Talk 99.7 and Nashville's Morning News. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Partly cloudy today, a high of 93, 77 now. It's summer solstice day, and first, I guess, official day of summer. It's felt like summer for quite some time now, but it is now official as of, I think it's somewhere in the 3 o'clock hour.
Something like that, Brother Dan.
It is when...
That's when you're supposed to start dancing and taking off your shirt.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Apparently, I arrived early to the party. Totally kidding. Moving right. Anyway, talking about the mother of Rachel Marin, she was on Laura Ingram's show yesterday, and they were talking about this rather bizarre statement. You think Louis C.K.'s statement was bizarre. I played this for you in the previous hour. This is Alejandro Mayorkas yesterday.
Our hearts break for the children of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother.
The individual. The person.
The subject.
The subject. I mean, you know that you're going on television. You know that you're going to be asked this question.
The children of the individual who was murdered, the woman, the mother.
Doesn't even know her name. And so they asked Rachel's mom what she thought about what Alejandro Mayorkas had to say.
My reaction is that it's a completely political statement, because they're not even willing to acknowledge that she was a female, that she was a mother, a daughter, totally depersonalizes her and makes her an object.
Yeah, it does. Because when you start talking about the names of victims, it does. That really does personalize it. And they don't want to draw any attention to this whatsoever. I mean, obviously, it's getting a lot of attention as it should. But this is what's going on. This is what's going on across America, where you have innocent Americans that are being killed, raped, maimed, murdered, whatever, by these illegal aliens. And I said yesterday, and somebody actually got upset with me, and I didn't really understand why. But you've got these folks that come into our country, and they're coming from places that are literally hell on earth. You know, El Salvador and some of these other places where they're just horrible places. Donald Trump called them crap hole countries. Yet here they come. And what do? Not all of them, but some of them kill American citizens. And it is awful. Now, one of the other things that we're talking about, and by the way, last thing I'll say on this is that the longer that the Biden administration completely ignores what is going on, and the more that they just try to say, well, if the Republicans just did this, or if the Republicans just did that. Well, the American people know that Biden is lying. And so the longer that the Biden administration continues to lie to the American people, the more the American people are going to get really angry. And that's when people are going to start exhibiting that anger during the election. November 5th, but you got to vote early. That's a whole big part of the conversation that Roger Stone was talking about as well. Now, there's another thing that's going on, and I want to talk about this a little bit. It is a new, what Cringe Jean-Pierre would say is a clean fake? Cheap fake, a cheap fake. You got cheap fake and deep fake. She is still going on the likes of MSNBC, and she's still trying to, number one, castigate Republicans for talking about and sharing these cheap fakes and these deep fakes. But the other thing that she's doing is she is telling the American people, don't believe your own eyes. This is what she said.
I think you're right. I think there is so much misinformation, disinformation, as we've been talking about. You talked about the video of the president wandering, and it's not true, right? The president wasn't wandering. He was talking to a parachuter that was right in front of him.
Now, the thing is, if you look at that video, the president was not talking to the parachuter. And the parachuter was actually putting his parachute back in his pack and looking down. Now, let me ask you a question. If the so-called leader of the free world was talking to you, would you just sort of dismissively talk to him while you're putting your parachute in the pack? No, you would get up and you would engage in the conversation. That's how you know that Joe Biden was not actually speaking to the parachuter. Now, maybe the parachuter has come out and said, oh, yeah, I was talking to him. He was talking to me. I don't think so. I have not seen that.
And what you saw is the Republican Party really manipulating what was being said and what was being seen by the American people. It's also very insulting to the folks the viewers who are watching it. And so we believe we have to call that out.
It's so funny when she says, it's very insulting. It's very insulting to the viewers who are watching that. Now you know how America feels when we're watching your White House press conferences. With her constant denials and constant repeating that the border is open, the economy is fine. And the president, we're having a really hard time keeping up with the president. I mean, all of these things is akin to, again, peeing on our collective leg across America and telling us that it's raining. It is 8:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Get the speed you need at a great price with my friends at Xfinity Internet. Now, you know what's going on in my house with all three of us working in our computers, doing homework or radio shows. We depend on Xfinity Internet in my house, and you can too. You can get up to 5 times faster upload speeds for smoother connections on the largest gig speed network from Xfinity. And Xfinity's gig speed internet is available to 99% of their footprint. In other words, it is fast, reliable, and pretty much everywhere. You can enjoy all your favorite apps, all in one place with a Flex 4K streaming box. And yes, you can stay connected on the go with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. To get started, call them 1-800-XFINITY. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 1-800-XFINITY. Find them online, xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today for more details. Actual speeds vary and are not guaranteed based on Xfinity's fastest available download speeds. Not available in all areas. Performance may be limited by customers' device configuration. It is 8:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. At 8:30, Ken Weaver's got the news. Ken, what's up?
Well, a man with an active homicide warrant in his home state of Alabama is now suspected of killing at least 2 people in Oklahoma and believed to be hiding out in Arkansas. Dozens of counties declared disaster areas from Tropical Storm Alberto. Major Jan 6 cases pending could be decided today. Pay raises up for votes today in Middle Tennessee. Some already granted at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
.827 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, coming up during the Gang of Four Amigos with Chris Handler, I believe is here.
He is.
Is he here?
Yep. He's working on some sound.
Is it another cheap fake? Or is a video of Joe Biden trying to somehow get into the presidential SUV real? We're going to talk about that coming up on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I realized in the previous segment, I referred to cheap fakes as clean fakes. You know who did that, though? No, you're laughing, Ken. Don't mock me.
Oh, it's real then.
No. Well, Donald Trump called them clean fakes.
Clean fakes.
And I was yelling at the computer a couple of days ago because, cheap fakes was all in the news.
Yeah.
And he called them clean fakes. And I'm like, dude, it's not clean. It's cheap fakes. It's cheap fakes. Somebody tell him. It's like when he was debating, I love Donald Trump. It's like when he was debating Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Remember this? And he was asking about the big guy. And Donald Trump said, "Are you the big man, Joe? Are you the big man?" It's like, no, it's the big guy. The big guy gets 10%, not the big man.
The big man.
Come on.
Are you the big man?
Oh.
I mean, that's Donald Trump. You got to love me. You got to take the good. You got to take the bad. And there you have the facts of life.
He's your favorite president. Me.
Better than Lincoln. Better than Washington. All right, 8:29, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Big news from my friends at Window Nation. Right now, they've got a great deal going on. If you need new windows, if you're thinking about getting new windows, this is the company you've got to call. My company, Window Nation. They put new windows in my downstairs basement studio. They're going to come back for the kitchen and the bedroom. And right now, you can get 50% off all windows, plus 0% interest for 5 years, and a bonus savings offer when you schedule your appointment today. Call them at 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION for Window Nation. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. As always, they want to replace your windows and let you save a ton of money as well. Get 50% off all windows, 0% interest for 5 years, and a bonus savings offer when you schedule your appointment today. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Schedule a fast, no obligation in-home consultation right now with the pros at Window Nation. It's easy. Call them 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
8:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now, a man with an active homicide warrant in his home state of Alabama is suspected of killing at least 2 people in Oklahoma. And authorities think 50-year-old Stacey Lee Drake is hiding out in the woods about 50 miles north of Little Rock, Arkansas. Massive manhunt there. 51 counties in South Texas under disaster declarations due to Tropical Storm Alberto, the storm spawning tornado sightings. The Supreme Court expected to come out with some major decisions as early as today in key cases involving former President Trump, January 6th, and abortion rights. Here's Terry Moran.
There are hundreds of members of the mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6th who say they have been improperly charged in their cases before the court. They say that the law prosecutors used was designed for business and financial crimes. And there are also major cases on homeless encampments, on social media, regulating social media, on guns for domestic abusers. So there's big news coming out of the Supreme Court in the coming week.
Yeah, here in Middle Tennessee, Williamson County commissioners meet today and could vote on the budget, which the school board approved with a 6% pay raise for teachers. And in Rutherford County, Murfreesboro's budget has passed without any tax increases, and there's more money for cops. Drug maker Eli Lilly raising new concerns this morning about fake and compounded versions of some of its most popular weight loss and diabetes drugs, Mounjaro and Zepbound. Market Numbers report. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Couple of minutes into the brand new trading day, and the Dow is down 55. S&P is up 8, NASDAQ up 64. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 8:32, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. How would you like to be free of car loan debt? No credit card debt, no personal loan debt. Loan Pronto can help you do just that. Now, you can tap into that equity in your home today and save you money on those high-interest loans. Homeowners are turning that home equity into cash these days almost instantly with Loan Pronto's AI-based system. It only takes about 10 minutes, and yes, it is really easy. There's no documentation, no appraisal, and above all, no hassle. Just relief from those high interest payments. So call them today. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out and get started. 615-499-5780. Loan Pronto. 615-499-5780. You can find them online. It is loanpronto.com. Get more information there. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
8:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into the gang of four amigos. Johnny's right there. Hello, Johnny.
Hey, what's happening?
Ken Weaver's over yonder. Weaves.
Good morning, boys. Yeah.
Chris Handis here, and I'm Dan.
What's up, guys?
What's happening?
So, I want Chris's opinion on Joe Biden. There's a new, as they like to say, there's a new cheap fake out there, as Cringe John Pierre would say.
Cheap fakes video.
Cheap fakes video where Joe Biden he is getting off of the presidential airplane, whatever it is, and he gets off of the plane. He meanders over to the presidential SUV where he's trying to lift that leg. And he's trying to swing it over into the presidential vehicle. And then it's like he stops. And it's just kind of hanging there like he's not able to get into the SUV. And it's a little worrisome. Actually. And so now, of course, he eventually was able to swing that leg over and get in. And so people are trying to figure out now, okay, so what was going on with the president? Was he not able to, lift that leg high enough to get into the SUV? Or what was going on?
Well, first, I just want to say Dan's dedication to his craft is top level. He wouldn't talk to me during the commercial break, and he's sitting there chuckling to himself with his headphones on as he was grabbing the squeaky audio.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was for, and I was you did a good job with that.
Thank you. I've been working on it for like 9 hours.
I love it. I love it.
I know.
I want to give credit where credit's due.
There you go.
Great.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that anything could have happened in that SUV. Joe Biden could have spilled the contents of her purse all over the seat. Joe could have been in the way. I think that it's more of an indictment that no matter what he does, we all have questions. Like I said it the other day, the fact that the rumor persists that he could have pooped his pants in front of the Pope and it's believable, that says everything we need to know about Joe Biden and his mental state.
Well, that's exactly right. And by the way, you can't, I don't know if anybody even mentioned this, but remember with the president, there's no denying the awkward of the forehead to forehead contact with the Pope.
Oh, I know.
So, I mean, she can talk about, cheap fakes all she wants, but reality is.
Did you see the Dalai Lama and Nancy Pelosi had a little forehead nuzzle the other day, too?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
Which is weird, because didn't the Dalai Lama just have that controversy where he was, licking some kid's tongue? Don't you remember that?
I was trying to forget.
Everybody remembers that, right? It's a matter of public record?
Yeah.
And Nancy Pelosi got close enough for that to happen? Who do you think is more scared in that situation? Do you think it's the Dalai Lama or do you think it's Nancy Pelosi?
Well, I would say if I'm the Dalai Lama, I'd be terrified of Nancy Pelosi, but I get what you're saying.
It's a vodka skeleton.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to see how strong it is.
Yes.
Anyway.
You smell flammable, Miss Pelosi.
Don't like that match.
All right. So moving right along. So you brought some audio about cheap fakes and cringe Jean-Pierre.
I did. So there's this video going around. Have you guys seen this? She holds up the Men in Black memory forgetful pen.
Yeah.
And she flashes the press briefing audience. This is all AI, but it's hilarious. It's been going viral.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here. Okay, so you did not see Biden wandering around aimlessly, freezing up, shitting himself, sniffing dignitaries, falling asleep, drinking drug cocktails, and frisking serving girls? What you actually saw were cheap fakes. It's like a deep fake, but it's just the real video that we don't want people to see. Oh, and I am a black lesbian.
Oh, man. That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I mean, it's so sad. It's true.
I love the end. I'm a black lesbian.
Yes. How could we possibly forget? I think that. How far do you think the cheap fakes? You think they're going to be able to actually use this to fend off the criticism or protect Joe Biden.
I think that's the new word. I think that is not going to go away. This is what fake news was in 2016. You remember that wasn't a thing, right?
Yep.
And it became this thing, and now it's culture. I think cheap fakes is going to be a term that we're going to be using for years.
You think people will buy it, though?
But people didn't buy the fake news stuff either. Remember, it was the left that weaponized that against us.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to put myself in the position of somebody who isn't as aware as us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I try to do. Because I still think that, I played audio earlier of her saying that, it was insulting to the viewers that the Republicans are trying to weaponize these cheap fake videos. And I'm thinking, you insult the viewers every day that are watching your White House press briefings because they're all lies.
100%, but the term itself was crafted in a room full of consultants. There was a focus group for that term, and it was chosen because it's so closely associated and sounds like deep fakes.
Yeah.
It's for the people that aren't paying attention. They just think it's completely fabricated.
Cheap fake, deep fake.
Yep.
Or if you listen to Donald Trump, clean fakes.
Clean fakes.
Did you see that?
Yes. Come on.
I was yelling. So for folks who don't know, Trump was in Minnesota?
Wisconsin.
No,
Wisconsin.
Same thing. And
don't you know?
And so he's in Wisconsin, and he's saying, clean fakes, the clean fakes. And I'm just yelling at the computer, dude, it's cheap fakes. It's not clean fakes. And he did that, and I was reminding these guys during the debate when he asked Joe Biden, are you the big man, Joe? Are you the big man?
Oh,
it's
big guy.
It's the big guy.
Yeah.
It's the big guy that gets 10%. Come on.
Yep.
It's like these are, for a guy who is such a brilliant marketing guy, I can't believe that he misses those opportunities by shanking one word.
But do you think that he does that almost? I mean, I don't think this was intentional, but do you think that some of those chances he does it intentionally so that way they can call him out and the mainstream media will say, oh, look, he got the term wrong, but then it brings attention and awareness to the story? Or do you think that's too 4D chess for Donald?
I think no, I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I love you. I think you're wrong.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the case with clean fakes.
No. Yeah. He just is like, why? It's this guy riffs for like hours on end, and he's right in a lot of the things that he says about policy and stuff. And then he messes up the one word. Now we've got this thing here. You've got Joe Biden.
Oh yeah. So this is another mashup that's been going viral, and it's kind of like Trump should run this as a campaign ad because it's essentially what the Biden campaign's been telling you with the cheap fakes, which is close your eyes.
Oh, here is the God's truth. Close your eyes. Now close your eyes. Close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Remember what you saw on television. Close your eyes. 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 Remember what you saw on television.
Close your eyes.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Keep your eyes shut. Close your eyes. Picture what it was like when you saw on television. Close your eyes. Remember what you saw on television.
I mean, that's what they're telling us to do, right?
They are. I like to close my eyes and forget your reminder of the Dalai Lama licking that kid's tongue.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to do.
I didn't come in here planning to remind you about that, by the way.
Well, thank you. It's all fine, well, and good.
It just happened. It happened
that makes me feel so much better. Got all day now. I got to think about that.
I had to think it. You had to think it.
Okay, man.
He must just sharing the misery.
he had an issue with an apology about that. And Nancy Pelosi still gets within tongue-grabbing reach.
I hate to say it, but can you imagine if like a politician here did that? Yeah. I mean, that would just be weird. That whole thing was just bizarre, and I don't really understand it. I still, to this day, don't understand how that happened.
Why is he still being platformed? Like, why?
I don't know.
Why would you go visit him?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess they're still doing rallies with Bill Clinton, so anything's on the table.
Well, listen, Nancy Pelosi is a lot different than a little boy, so maybe she is safe. Moving right along.
Oh, and a super texter corrected me. It was he had the kid suck his tongue. So it was
doesn't
the other
really
way
make
around.
it lot better.
I just
doesn't
wanted
help.
to clarify.
As long as we have everything.
I don't want to be accused of cheap fakes. I want to make sure we get it right.
Hey, can you imagine life without a phone? Like,
yes.
I want you to think about living life completely without a phone.
Yes.
Of all people, Woody Harrelson actually said this on a podcast. I guess he doesn't have any phone whatsoever. This is what he said.
Well,
So
I just
phone.
don't like to have, to be readily available to any human being
I hear that.
at any time.
It doesn't feel good.
No, and plus, but that's not the reason. I like to be in touch with people in a way, but I don't like the appendage on my appendage. Like where, I made a thing where I'm like, okay, I'm going to set a 2-hour limit on my phone because I've given it up now 3.5 years.
Yeah, so he had to wean himself off of his phone.
Good for him.
And yeah, he was able to do it. And I don't know. There have been times where I've tried to kick the habit of my phone. I can't do it. We were talking yesterday. I think kids spend, 3.5 to 4.5 hours a day on social media and their phones.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that's too much, but then ask me how much time I spend on my phone.
Oh, I know. I do all my work on my phone.
But see, we're different because we do a lot of research and that kind of thing. But I can't imagine a kid spending that much time on a phone every single day.
No, hold off as long as you can.
So what is
Nobody has phones.
What age?
I'm like 16 probably would be the earliest, and then it's going to be something like really locked down.
Okay. Until they're like 18.
Yeah.
And then
like gently, slowly introduce them to it.
Yeah.
Training wheels, bumpers.
Yep.
Guardrails, all the things.
I know Johnny can imagine a life without a phone. Hi, Johnny.
Yeah, I sure can.
Johnny never answers my calls. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Johnny.
This is not true.
I know it's not true. It takes a few days, but you finally, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. You know what parkour is?
I do. I love it.
Did you see that story?
No, I didn't see the story, but I watch the videos all the time. Like dudes front flipping off bridges and stuff.
So Riker, just on a side note, what parkour is basically you're running around ledges and that kind of a thing, and you're like right on the edge.
Yeah, there'll be guys that'll like jump from like a parking garage to a street pole and slide down. Like they're nuts. They're absolutely insane.
They also tend to die.
They do.
Yeah.
A lot of times, many cases, they're Australian. So they don't have that same fear of death that we do in America.
So people have to hold their beer?
So apparently there is this really old and amazing building in Italy.
Okay.
And these moronic, idiotic parkour people started doing their parkour on this really old building, and they damaged it.
Oh.
Isn't that dumb? It's like, how...
I thought you were going to say they died, because didn't you lead with sometimes they die?
Yeah, but that is a fact.
Yeah,
which
I'm
sorry. Did I not tell the story for you right?
I pictured a different conclusion. I didn't think it was the building.
Do I need to break out the creaking sounds again? You're impressed with that? Whatever, man.
I thought there was going to be like, he turned into an accordion because he miscalculated the distance.
No, that actually would be more fun to talk about.
I've seen some of those videos.
Would they fall?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, you live by social media and video and you die by that.
That's right.
That's what happens. And so Riker went through this phase where he was all about parkour, driving me nuts, man, because you turn around and he's just jumping on everything like he was 8 at the time. It's like, good Lord, man.
I don't even want to teach my kids the word because I'll be like, stop jumping on the couch. They'll be like, I'm practicing parkour.
That's what he was doing. He was jumping on the couch and terrorizing the dog.
Oh, jeez.
It was everything.
It's terrorizing the dog. My wife sent me a picture yesterday while I was on the air. It's of my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old. And they basically have our little King Charles Cavalier held in a headlock. And she wrote, it's going to be a fun summer for Meg. We know all about torturing the dogs.
Oh, it's going to be a long summer for yours truly. So the three of us, for the first time, were able to get into the pool yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know what idiot bought the water guns. It was me. I don't know what idiot bought the water guns, but I bought one water bazooka and a bunch of little, pea shooters.
Yeah.
And of course, Riker has the bazooka, and he's not giving that thing up, man. And he got me, had to be 15 times. I think now, and I'm not kidding about this, I think I got an ear infection or something because he got it like right in my ear, and now it's like my jaw on my right side is like stiff and sore, and it's coming from my ear because my ear is all itchy. It's driving me nuts.
You got swimmer's ear, Brother Dan.
Is that what I have?
Have you done the jumping up and down with your head tilted yet?
I did that this morning, actually. I was doing that, and it's like, because you can hear it in there.
It's sloshing around.
And so now my ear hurts. That's connected to my jaw. So now my jaw on my right side is sore, and it's just like I'm all out of whack. I've been a little just off today because of all of that.
Yeah, you've got bazooka ear.
I've got water. I've got water bazooka ear. You know what I'm doing today? I'm going to go buy another bazooka or two so that we all have equal firepower.
Just go get you some swimmer's ear.
It's going to be I could do that too. It's going to be a long summer. 8:53, what's coming up?
Well, on the show today, I'm very excited. We're going to be interviewing Don McLean of American Pie fame at 11:05. I'm very, very excited about that conversation.
American Pie. American Pie? Yep. Okay.
I'm going to isolate that clip and play it for Don.
Hey, Don. Remember whenever you sang this?
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Tell him I said hi. Big fan.
Brother Dan Mandis in Music City.
What was that song again?
I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
I thought you did a good job.
Thank you. I thought I did too. I hit the notes and everything, didn't I? Anyway, moving right on. What else?
And if you were watching on Super Talk TV, he did a little bob to it.
Yeah, he sure did.
I did.
Actually, there was some motion.
In fairness to me, I was trying to remember the song.
He didn't worry about the swimmer's ear as soon as he started head bobbing to American Pie.
All right, moving right along.
Remembering the lyrics.
What else you got?
Well,
God help me. I'm not going to comment on whatever this is.
I do want to talk about the Kansas Attorney General filing a suit against Pfizer, which for what they're saying is false marketing of the Pfizer vaccine. So we'll get into that, his statements, and more.
8:54, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. You want a summer without limits? Think about unlimited shade and unlimited privacy with my friends at Moon Valley Nurseries. Now, if you'd like more privacy in your backyard, Moon Valley Nurseries is planting all summer long. Their privacy-geared trees and hedges can give you the privacy you want this summer and keep your backyard shady as well. Summer's more fun with privacy and shade. Check out how to make that happen at moonvalleynurseries.com. Now, these are trees that are going to thrive in our climate and in your backyard. So check these folks out today. moonvalleynurseries.com. If you're not exactly sure what you want, but you know that you need to do something, find them online, check them out, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. moonvalleynurseries.com. That's moonvalleynurseries.com.